A furious roar was heard in the darkness. How dare she refuse? The heroine held a bloody blade in her hand. The girl's entire dress was covered in splashes of scarlet blood. She needed to run quickly. She rushed away in horror. The empire was plunged into the darkness of night. The moon and stars illuminated the path of retreat of the frightened heroine. The cold currents of the river were furious. The girl saw her bloody reflection in their ripples. She had no other choice. The river waves are raging. If the girl jumps down right into their mouths now, she will definitely die. Cold sweat and salty tears ran down the heroine's face. He will not die. It was already predetermined. The poor heroine was tormented by the icy wind on the bow of the ship, but the girl did not feel it. It would be better if she chose this path, if only she could avoid such a terrible fate. The girl was so tired and so scared she closed her eyes and took a deep breath. It would all end quickly. Thin hands stained with blood began to slowly release the bow railing, her fingers obediently unclenched. And then the graceful silhouette in the bloody dress began to inevitably fall down, straight into the raging mouth of the river. If only she could defy her fate, that was the heroine's last thought. Strong currents immediately greedily swallowed up the uninvited guest, the waves clashing over her head. 6 months later, the inhabitants of the empire were serenely greeting their new day in the main square. In a secluded corner of it hung a sign with the name of the cafe. Cardinal is a favorite place of all the locals. I wish I could meet the main character already. When will she finally appear? The girl's name is Lorena. She is the servant of Duke Klavan. She used to be a 27-year-old girl in South Korea named Laura, and 6 months ago she was transported into this novel. It's called The Blind Beast's Flower, and her employer is the novel's protagonist, Elon Klavan, the best sword warrior of the Empire, undefeated, blessed by the heavens, bearer of the famous red eyes of Odor. He had many titles, but now he is called a blind beast. In one of the battles he was poisoned and stopped fighting for life. However, the antidote grew right in his garden. It was a flower that bloomed for only 10 days. The main character, Karina, finds a flower and restores the beast's sight, and Elon proposes to her. And Lorena's task is to let these two meet without interfering with the plot. Maybe then she will return to her world. But in this novel, Laura only read the beginning and the end. What is her role here? She is probably only a secondary and faceless character. In one of the romantic scenes, the main character asked the young man to stop because there were servants walking around. And Duke Klavan ordered the #1 maid to leave without a name or further mention. That was her entire role in this novel. Sounds doable, but where is Karina? The flower blossomed a whole week ago. What is Laura doing wrong? Why is the heroine not here yet? After all, her return home depends on the ending of the storyline. She cannot stay here forever. Soon, Elon will return from his meeting with the Emperor, and Lorena, as his only servant, will receive a severe thrashing. After all, the only servant left her blind master. The beast has no other helpers. She shouldn't stay here and wait any longer. She needs to go inside and find out everything for herself as much as possible. A greeting rang out from the cardinal. "Welcome. Anything young lady wants? Lorena is here looking for someone." Silver hair, emerald eyes, such an appearance would not go unnoticed. Yes, beauty is the basis of all the main characters. What the young lady said was nothing. Nothing, in general. Here the young man saw only a beautiful lady with violet eyes. The bald guest looked at the maid with displeasure. Did they all really look the same? What was the friend saying? The man pointed his index finger at the wall. "That lady over there has a face just like that girl from the poster." Alicia Uther, golden hair, violet eyes, wanted, do not harm, capture and report to the Temple of Hadunsha. The reward for her capture is 9,999 gold. Well, another day in the novella in vain. There are only 3 days left before the flower withers. Silly world of romantic novels. It's impossible to even find the main character here. Let this golden-haired girl slow down. What? Then a heavy hand instantly landed on the girl's wrist. What is this ignorant orc doing? It's definitely the lady from the poster. There's a big reward for her. Who are these idiots and what do they want from a simple maid? Now be quiet. Don't attract attention. The men are not going to offend this girl. They will simply take her to a temple and receive their gold coins for her. Is Lorena a cow to them or something? People can't be sold, don't they know that? She kicks just like a cow. What did he say? Oh, that bastard bit him. Then someone's threatening silhouette appeared behind the scoundrels. With one easy movement, the mighty beast threw the bald man away from the girl, and he fell heavily onto the road. What is this impudent fellow doing? He and his friend were the first to find this lady. It's their product, he understands. So let the young man get out of here. They don't want any trouble. The blind beast instantly hugged his servant, his hand so strong and warm, so stop. What is Lorena thinking about? How dare these idiots treat a lady so rudely? Wait a minute, this guy is apparently blind. A friend just got knocked out with one hand by a blind guy. Stop laughing and let that guy get out of their way. The girl will stay with the guys, this is their prey, and let the noble and blind beauty get out of here. The young man doesn't want to ruin his pretty face either, so let him find himself another companion. There are plenty of them in the Empire, and this girl is needed by friends. Lorena squealed in fear and told Elon to be careful. What the hell, without even seeing the opponents, the beast put them in with one hand. Elon is truly the greatest of warriors. So the maid abandoned Duke Claven for this. She wanted adventure, but not at all. They wanted to drink tea together after meeting with the Emperor. She was not in the mansion. Elon went to look for her. But it is very dangerous for a young man to walk alone, and Elon just went and did it. And that is truly the answer of the main character. Lorena had wanted to go to this cafe for a long time. Why was the young man with his title and merits talking to her so easily? This is the same Cardinal Cafe. Well, since they are both here, they can have some tea. Lorena will be happy. Finally, the girl's trick worked. Suddenly they would manage to meet this unpunctual Karina here. Mr. Elon wants the same tea and chocolate as the maid, that's right, just like his meeting with the Emperor. Even though she sees the beast every day, she still admires its incredible beauty every time. Here he is, the main character in the flesh. His Majesty had an urgent conversation with the best warrior of the Empire. The Duke usually doesn't leave the house. This is the first time she's seen him in a formal tailcoat and how it suits him. The Emperor believes that at his age it is time for Elon to get married, which His Highness worries about for the continuation of the Claven line. And why does it matter to him? And who was chosen as the bride, Elon does not know. Apparently his lordship will choose someone. How romantic. What nonsense. The maid nervously hit the table. Why is she reacting like that? It's not her they're marrying off. But what about true feelings, a connection that is stronger than time and death? Where is all this vaunted romance of short stories? What? Why is Lorena shouting here among the nobility? This is a common thing. Marriage is a political and economic union. Elon will have to spend his whole life with this girl, so they must have feelings for each other. You need to choose your chosen one with your heart, then the choice will definitely be right. For example, here is Karina. Yes, the main character must fall in love with the main heroine. What kind of beast hasn't read fairy tales? The maid really thinks so. Of course, because marriage without love is a sad event, and Laura needs to return to her world. Let Lorena think for herself who needs such a beast. A blind husband is just a burden, nothing more than what he said. Lorena will hit him now. He is beautiful and will definitely find his love, or she will not find him a maid. The Duke is grateful to Lorena, but even now he feels other people's gazes on him. After all, he is looking at Elon. These are pigeons. And they shouldn't have come here at all. The maid is just extremely clumsy, and that's why she attracts the attention of onlookers. Lorena just has red hair, blue eyes, and dark skin, and she looks like the South Korean flag. What other Korea? But such an appearance is really rare to meet. That's exactly. Can Elon touch it? Why, well, the maid said that her appearance was unusual, so the Duke became interested. Suddenly he would understand that she was lying. After all, when you lose your sight, your other senses become more acute. But Elon is her employer, and it won't be easy to refuse. And in general, it feels like the main character can still see right through her, okay? Let the young man touch her. The main character carefully pulled the glove off his hand and asked the lady for forgiveness for his unexpected outburst. But Elon really became very curious. Well, it was Lorena's own fault. The maid carefully intercepted the protagonist's wrist and pulled his hand towards herself, almost to the target. Lorena gently placed his palm on her cheek. Something like that. For some reason, the main character's palm turned out to be so cold, but at the same time so pleasant and magnetic. Strong fingers began to run over the prominent features of her face. The protagonist's hand moved to the maid's chin, and some strange feeling flashed through her. After which the beast's hand slowly recoiled from Lorena's face. The girl sighed sadly and shook her head. The maid looked at the Duke expectantly, wondering what he had noticed, whether he had been able to understand that she had deceived him. The main character broke into a radiant smile. Well, the girl really has an unusual appearance. Come on, seriously, this hero is so cute. Oh, if only she were a different character, then stop. Lorena is here for another purpose, and as far as this cafe looks, judging by the sounds, it is full of people. It's just that the Cardinal establishment is located on the main square, and there are tables here, like in the Duke's mansion, only they are round. There are light curtains on each window of the cafe, but they are very dirty and have not been washed for a long time. The sun is shining brightly through the fluffy clouds. The view is so beautiful. The atmosphere is really wonderful. She really lied today, but if Elon doesn't like this place, he might not come here again. And this is their meeting place with Karina. She is an orphan from the village. She was adopted by a noble relative and taken to the capital. Before her debut, she wandered into this cafe. She was attacked by bandits. Then Elon left his mansion for the first time. The main character saved Karina, after which they become good friends. The main character visits the young man in his mansion, finds a healing flower in his garden, and restores his sight. But at this time, Elon should have already met Karina and regained his sight. There were only 2 days left. And where is this frivolous girl? A person's life is at stake here. By the way, the Duke had long wanted to ask the maid what her name meant. It was also unusual. Well, the young master knows that the maid recently lost her memory, so she would like to know that too. If I explain what the name Lorena means, this story will definitely drag on. It seems like this girl is coming to her senses. Thank God the young miss is alive. She is covered in blood, so the old couple expected the worst. What kind of place is this? Apparently a lady from a noble family. How does she feel? Yes, she seems fine. And can we use their mobile? What? The elderly woman's face was frozen with a question mark about what the poor girl had just said. Maybe she had ended up in a remote village on the outskirts. This is Laura's first memory after her rebirth. If she reaches the ending, she will probably be able to return to her home. The first thing she did was look for a job, and the only offer was a position as a servant to Duke Clavan. Since the girl had no documents, this was the only acceptable option for work. All the maids ran away from the blind beast despite the good fee, so why is the lady frozen? Is she getting a job or not? What's her name? Well, let's say Lorena, a typical name for a romantic novel. When she arrived at the mansion, it immediately became clear that the beast lived in hopeless despondency. A great hero could track his target using only his unique instincts. Blindness shouldn't have been a problem, but Elon gave up his title as the greatest knight and all his titles after being poisoned. The strongest and most beautiful warrior from that moment lost the will to live. The maid looked around nervously and swallowed. She brought the master his clothes. The poisoned beast became a real horror for people. They did not understand its pain and despair, so they were afraid. But Elon Clavan did not want to be understood, did not want anything to be understood. He simply plunged into eternal darkness. All the servants ran from the knight as if he were a monster. The maids threw their clothes on the floor by the door, afraid to enter his room. Everyone except Lorena. She knew what a beautiful soul was walled up in these blocks of oppression and pain. The new maid entered her master's private chambers with ease. Lorena never tried to escape from the beast, was not afraid of it, and returned to it every day. The maid tidied up his bedroom, took care of his daily routine and nutrition. The soup was still hot. He needed to wait a little. Today the young master has chicken broth. It will do him good, so let him open his mouth. Lorena really had warm feelings for the main character, secretly admired him. At first, the hunted beast had difficulty trusting his only servant. However, the maid returned to him day after day and saw all his pain and suffering. And most importantly, Lorena never gave up despite the main character's unwillingness to live. Well, what does the handsome warrior say? How does he like fresh chicken broth? The soup is really tasty. And so, step by step, Elon Clavan began to gradually emerge from his despair and depressed state. The main character got a cane for the blind and began to practice, and after 2 years spent in bed, Elon began to walk again. So, after 6 months of Lorena's care and support, the animal finally recovered and began to live again. The gentleman must be very tired today. It was a busy day. Lorena will bring him dinner. The main character sighed heavily and threw his head back. He knew he shouldn't have indulged in his fantasies. It was foolish to expect the girl to see a man in him because he was weak and feeble. Today is such a friendly day. The sun is shining even through the curtain. The maid wanted to ask something. Has the young gentleman ever been to the Cardinal Cafe? Although it is for commoners, it is still popular. The main character crossed his arms in front of him. He had never even heard of such a cafe. Was it really a famous place in the capital? And why is the girl asking about this? Just like that, this is a fairly well-known place in the empire. By the way, the maid almost forgot. She had to take a report from the local priest. Bernard, the manager of the staff of the Clavan Duchy. This cardinal is usually where couples meet. Bernard doesn't need to know how his lordship knows about this place. Well, how can you ignore the curiosity of others? Bernard is interested. He is free. Enough whining already. Let Bernard get to work. Oh well, they'll start with this month's reports. How interesting. So lovers meet in this cafe. Why did she start talking about this place? What if Lorena wants to go to this place with Elon? But why would she need him in such a romantic place? And how could the main character even think that Lorena had any feelings for him? What an idiot. The blind beast sighed heavily. He was just a burden to everyone. How could anyone love him at all? Fool that he was, he dared to hope that his life would again have meaning, that light would appear in it. But no, this will never happen, this girl will never love him. Today the main character was able to touch her. It was so exciting and so necessary for him. When his fingers touched Lorena's skin, he felt that she was close, that everything was okay. Elon painfully squeezed his fingers, letting go of the ghost of his hope. She lives a full life, and he only builds illusions. She does not see a man in the beast, which is not surprising, because in the end he is weak and blind. No one can ever truly love a hunted animal, he can only count on pity. The maid quietly knocked on the door of Ilan's bedroom. It's time for the master to have dinner, let Lorena come in. And what is on their menu today, let the main character guess for himself, he will definitely like it. Well, judging by the smell, these are sausages. It also smells of spices, that's right. Today Sir Elon has sausages on the grill. Let the handsome young man eat carefully, the sausages are very hot. The maid will blow a little on the food so as not to cause discomfort to the master. So today, she couldn't find that damn Karina again. She was forced to write her a letter asking for a meeting. However, for some reason her insistent letter remained unanswered. Maybe they'll just kidnap her and bring her here. Although she was quite rude and persistent in the letter, this apparently frightened the main character. Something is bothering Lorena. She sighs heavily for the 10th time. How can the young man help her? The maid is sorry that she unwittingly made the master worry. Everything is fine. These are personal experiences. Just look at her. Instead of her work, she declares that she is flying in the clouds, employee of the year. By the way, why is Elon himself in a bad mood? It started after the cafe. What's the matter? But the girl really wanted to go to this cafe. Well, yes, she did talk about it. However, the maid apparently didn't like it there very much. She was constantly distracted. Yes, a fine young man, straight as an arrow, but she is in the capital for the first time. Lorena didn't have a chance to walk around the city and look around, so that's the thing. And how does she like the capital compared to her native village? It is a new era of civilization. There is even a sidewalk here. Everything is paved with tiles, and where does Lorena come from? There are so many beautiful people here. When the girl looked around, she noticed that every person here seemed to have stepped out of a picture. In that case, they can take a little walk. And isn't the gentleman tired today? Not at all. A silver moon has lit up above the Duchy's mansion. It is big and bright today. And on the left, beautiful yellow flowers the size of Elon's palm have blossomed. They only blossom in the light of the moon. Mother Ilona loved these flowers very much. Indeed. Indeed, today the moon is brighter than ever. And where is the treasured saving flower that is supposed to restore the main character's sight? This is where the inky beauty is hiding. What a relief. The flower hasn't started to fade yet. Let the flower be patient for a couple more days while Karina is hanging around somewhere. Apparently, Lorena likes silence. She is simply enjoying the blooming flowers. There are so many of them here. The view is simply fabulous. Elon is glad that the maid finds joy in such things, because of him she never goes anywhere. Enough of this nonsense. Lorena is ready to serve the beautiful young man faithfully and truly until the end, and will soon beat him for such words. But while the Duke was not at the estate, she herself ran off for a walk, and Elon didn't listen to her at all, did he? She was just curious, that's all. She's still a girl, but that doesn't mean she doesn't like working for Elon. And in general, she got it pretty good from Bernard later, so she already got her due. The young man smiled. Apparently, there were still places Lorena would like to visit. Let the young man choose himself. Lorena will go with him wherever he wants. He can't see anything, so it's better for her to choose. Well, if that's the case, then they need to take a walk in Trapple Park. There are very picturesque views there. That's great. In that case, they'll go to that park tomorrow. That's right. The girl is very grateful for the efficiency. They will have a great time there. That's great. This park is located on the property of the Count who adopted Karina. There they will finally be able to meet. Here the main character froze. What was the matter? Why did the young man suddenly stop? If the Duke has other plans for tomorrow, it's not a big deal. They'll reschedule their walk. That's not the point at all. Elon just realized that he has absolutely no experience walking with ladies. What a turn of events, and this from such a wonderful young man, with a beautiful soul and heart. Well, there must be a lot of other people in the popular places of the capital, right? Well, yes. In this case, the blind beast cannot lose face and disgrace his duchy. They should practice before such an outing in public. Maybe the girl can help him with this. The main character gallantly extended his hand to the maid. Her heart began to beat faster. What was it doing? They were not here for long. Laura is from another world, and this wonderful young man is destined for another girl. Elon doesn't want to draw attention to them, so their walk should look natural. That makes sense. The girl carefully placed her hand into the beast's palm. The greatest warrior straightened his back and walked forward proudly, guiding his companion. So step by step, the girl can't keep up with the main character at all. This is what was meant when they said that the strongest swordmaster was far from the high society. When they walk side by side, their steps should be the same length, and she is like a chicken chasing a long-legged heron. But if the walk is supposed to be natural, you really have to try. The girl asked the main character to slow down. They needed to sort something out. As soon as the girl's hand lay on the beast's forearm, Elon immediately froze, wondering what she was doing. This will make walking much more comfortable, since the Duke is much taller than Lauren, and this way their steps will be level. Noticing the awkward pause and Elon's bewilderment, the girl immediately recoiled. Apparently the gentleman was uncomfortable. The main character immediately intercepted her hand and returned it back. No. Lorena was right. It really was much more comfortable to walk this way. A warm smile appeared on his face. Now they should try again and develop their natural walking pace. Wow, there's enough food here for a whole horde of knights and so many delicious things. It's definitely enough for both of them. Bernard straightened up proudly, in fact. They and a whole squad were going on a walk today. Besides, his lordship is going out for the second time. It is truly a holiday. Bernard spent the whole night cooking. He is so happy for their master. He can't wait to see him on a walk. He and Lorena will go together, what? And when the gentleman managed to sneak up at all, the mansion remains on Bernard. Let him be a good boy. But Bernard also wants to see Elon basking in the sun. Why the maid? The manager is also worried about the master and is happy about his changes. There is no need to be jealous. It will be more fun with company. Elon doesn't need nannies and servants. Well, they can go their separate ways. Well, okay, they will go on a picnic together, but let the servants be nearby. It will be easier to get to know this Karina. Okay, Bernard will go with them on the picnic too. The manager squealed happily and jumped up and down with joy. The welcoming sun reflected off the crystal-clear surface of the lake in the park. Just the perfect day for a promenade. Bernard looked at Elon like a proud mother and waved his hand, and then they went. It's so hot outside now. Despite the fact that it's only spring, so many people have gone out for a walk. The sun is really hot. The girl can fan the gentleman, but it's not worth it. Oh, today is really an amazing day. Maybe she'll get lucky and the plot will finally move forward. Of course, she is very worried about Karina's absence and the discrepancy with the storyline. But everything should work out. She's doing everything right. She's not interfering. Oh no, there's a wasp flying right over Elon. And what the hell is this striped insect of such a size? Lorena will not let it attack the main character. One bite from this flying giant can make you lose consciousness. She grabbed her fan. Lorena will protect Elon. What is that buzzing and annoying sound? Apparently a fly is flying nearby. Oh no, Elon provoked the monster. It will sting now. No, let the sting go away from the handsome young man. Lorena swung her fan and hit the wasp right in front of Elon's face. The defeated monster flew onto the neighboring blanket of two frightened ladies. What kind of abomination is this? The protagonist looked ahead in shock, his hair falling back from the wave of Lorena's hand. The girl was so scared she didn't want to worry Elon at all. She was just trying to scare that monster away from him. Lorena tripped and landed right on top of the main character. She was definitely in a romantic novel. In her real world, she would have fallen into the mud, or even worse, oh, the handsome young man is too close to her. She asks the gentleman for forgiveness. He is generally unharmed. Lorena was chasing a wasp away from him and accidentally tripped. The girl is safe. Nothing is hurt. In fact, she fell on Elon. Everything is okay with her. The maid's cheeks immediately turned red. What kind of warm feeling was spreading throughout her body? So she needs to get ready immediately. This guy is definitely not for her. Lorena jumped up from her seat. Let that impudent wasp fly back here. Lorena will defeat her. We need to change the subject immediately. It's so shameful. Perhaps the main character should enslave the hearts of girls with just one look. Bernard worked for a long time. This is a sandwich. If you hold it like this, you won't get it dirty. Not a few hours later, the Harrington estate, where the main character should live. The maid's name is Lorena, and she would like to speak with Miss Karina. Will they let her see Karina since she has no documents? She arrived late, since their picnic dragged on. Lorena will go to the dress shop. Elon might go with her, but then everyone will think they are a couple. It was the maid who wanted to see Miss Karina, that's right. She owes her a lot. The mistress will be glad to see Lorena, a blatant lie. But this is impossible now, since Lady Karina is not in the mansion now. That is, how is it? Then where is she? The man in the tailcoat cleared his throat. The maid should know this. The main character is currently in the Imperial Palace, so she can't find time for a personal meeting, which... Meanwhile, Karina admired the view from the imperial palace. How beautiful it was here, but the lady herself was much more beautiful. The girl turned around in embarrassment, but for His Highness these words mean little, don't they? The adopted daughter of the Earl of Harrington, Countess Harrington, the Crown Prince says this to every lady of the court. It used to be like that. The Crown Prince asks Karina not to look at him like that, it hurts him. The future ruler kissed the main character's hand. He threw out such compliments casually. Crown Prince Xavier, Oder Constance, never imagined that he would say this from the bottom of his heart. For some reason, the main character doesn't believe the words of the future ruler. But what's stopping her from fixing this? Let Miss Karina call the Crown Prince by his first name. That will be enough to win her trust. Lady Harrington cannot call the heir to the throne by name. Is this a refusal to obey the royal command? The future emperor gently squeezed the main character's chin. Come on, it's that simple, Xavier. After all, it's so easy to say, and from Karina's lips his name sounds so beautiful. The Crown Prince pulled the heroine towards him with one movement and kissed her in the rays of the sunset. Karina's emerald eyes flashed. A new feeling began to arise within her. Let sweet Karina remember that when they are alone with her, she should address him by name. As you wish. Here the conversation of the young people was interrupted by the assistant of the Crown Prince. Well, what's the matter? The young man nervously ran up to the heir to the throne and whispered something in his ear. Xavier's face immediately changed. The Crown Prince has an urgent and pressing matter to attend to, so he will be leaving Miss Karina. They will meet the girl tomorrow at the same place. Xavier kissed Karina on the forehead goodbye. From now on, Lady Harrington must stop calling Xavier His Highness, or he will punish her. After the Crown Prince left the balcony, the main character covered her face in embarrassment. This was Karina's first kiss. Her cheeks immediately turned pink. How exciting and pleasant it all was. This is what true love means. Karina feels it. The name of her other half is Xavier. Everything was lost when Lady Karina was adopted. The Countess was so happy, and now even more so. After all, very soon young Karina will marry a member of the imperial family. She is completely stunned. But what about Lura and Eilon? Everything around the girl seemed to be shrouded in impenetrable darkness. Everything was lost. She was doomed. This is a nasty thing. This stupid heroine suddenly fell in love with the heir to the throne. That's disgusting. But how is that possible? The heroine broke the rules of the plot. The ending will be different. Poor Elon will not see the light, whether he can be cured without love. And how can the girl even look him in the face now, because now she knows that he cannot be saved? Finally, the maid deigned to return. Oh, remember the sun, here comes a ray. Why hasn't the young gentleman gone to bed yet? It was high time for him to rest. Lorena herself is also good. She promised that she wouldn't leave for so long, and she herself. Lorena asks for forgiveness. She got lost on the way back, and why didn't the girl take a carriage then? But you need to save money. Be careful. The girl is going to put Elon to bed now. The maid led the main character to his bed and carefully sat him down. He still needed something. Maybe she can read to him again. Is Elon having problems with sleep again? Should she take the same book? A large number of people had gathered in the populated wasteland, and the number of soldiers in the enemy army was equal. Palermo's infantry consisted of 11,000 soldiers and 5,000 cavalry, and bedtime stories. How can you even fall asleep to this? 6,000 artillery soldiers and 800 guns. The soldiers went on the offensive. Others also went somewhere. Then snoring was heard in the room. The maid plopped down on the beast's bed, and Elon carefully covered her with a blanket. Apparently the girl is very tired today after the whole day. Let her have a good rest. The main character tried to pull the book out from under the maid's cheek but failed. Okay, so be it. The handsome hero lay down next to the girl and began to listen. The sound of her breathing is so peaceful and pleasant. Elon feels that he is not alone in his endless darkness. Lorena said today that if Elon accompanies her to the dress shop, everyone will think they are a couple. Bernard immediately picked up Lorena, that's right, and in general the gentleman spent too much time outside the house. It's time for him to go home. But the main character wanted to spend some more time with Lorena. Bernard carefully dragged the young man home, like a capricious child. Why didn't she want to take the young man with her? Apparently, Lorena is ashamed to appear in such places with Elon. The main character carefully felt the sleeping girl's hand. He only wanted to straighten her blanket. And it happened that he accidentally touched her. Everything inside Elon turned over. Just touching requires so much ripeness. She became a guide for a feeble blind man, and this tears the young man apart. How could a blind beast be with her? How could she want that? There was a knock on the door of the main character's bedroom. It was Bernard. Let the manager come in. Again, his lordship took up his question. What is Bernard doing here at such a late hour? The gentleman asked to bring him fresh tea if the light was still burning in his chambers. This is his order. It's lucky there aren't any other servants here. The master would get into trouble if word got out that a maid was sleeping in his bedroom. And his lordship knows this very well. Why doesn't the gentleman simply make Lorena his favorite? What Bernard just said, she is just a servant without a family or a surname. For noble lords, she is just a slave. Let the manager immediately shut his mouth and never dare to say such a thing again. Whatever Bernard was to Elon, he wouldn't forgive even him for this. Bernard nodded. He understood everything and crossed the line. It would not happen again. And now the manager asks him to forgive him. It's time for him to return to work. How could you even allow such a thought? To make Lorena your lover, she is not a thing. The protagonist placed his hand on the girl's fingers. If only she shared his feelings. Then the young man would find a way to resolve this issue in a noble way. The blind beast was nearby and guarded the sleep of the sleeping heroine. He would never hurt her. Meanwhile, in the imperial palace, in his private chambers, the crown prince was awake like a nocturnal predator. So that's how today's report shook the future ruler. So these are those same people. Yes, Your Highness, the elderly couple who found Lorena were kneeling in front of the heir to the throne. It is a great honor for commoners to appear before the son of the empire itself, of course. The crown prince waved his glass of wine. Let these people finally rise up. The future ruler has one important question for the elderly couple of witnesses. They will answer everything that is required. This is what Xavier is counting on, since they are familiar with this girl. That's right. The couple saw this poor lady 6 months ago on the riverbank, but where is she now? They don't know this. She was covered in blood on the riverbank, unconscious. They only let her in to spend the night. The lady herself did not want to stay for long. She went to Kruger Castle, and what happened after that? They did not see her. If the commoners dared to lie, the guard would cut off their heads. They would not dare to lie to the crown prince. That's enough for today. The heir to the throne raised his hand. These commoners have already helped them. Let the guard escort the couple to the exit of the imperial palace. How the assistant should deal with the flutes, he needs to be explained every little thing. Let the guard remove the witnesses without unnecessary noise, it is clear to him, as His Highness pleases. So it means that Alicia did survive after that fateful night. Xavier assumed that it was possible. Blue eyes flashed menacingly. This time, Alicia wouldn't be able to escape from him. He would find her very soon. Odur is the name of the first ruler of Constance, and also the divine title of succession to the throne. According to legend, which has been passed down from mouth to mouth for centuries since the founding of the state, the first emperor died and ascended. He became one of the gods and said that in every generation of his descendants, a child would be born similar to him. With this revelation, he left the mortal world. Children with black hair and red eyes became the descendants of the god Odur. Their bodies exceeded the limits of a human. The imperial descendants were masters of the sword. And they aged so slowly that it was almost unnoticeable. The descendants of God were resistant to diseases and poisons. No one could have imagined that such a terrible fate awaited the greatest descendant of Odur, Elon. The strongest warrior led his squad into attack, but it was a trap. A special poison was sprayed into the air, and it was impossible to hide from it. The faithful horse was struck by a dangerous toxin in an instant, collapsing to the ground along with its owner. Then the descendant of the god Odur felt as if his eyes were being burned by acid. It was unbearably painful. The great swordmaster's loyal soldiers immediately ran up to him, but no one could help him. On that horrific day, the protagonist lost his sight and the gifts of the first emperor Constance. All possible methods of treatment were tried. Healers, shamans, and priests were invited. But everything was written. No one in the empire managed to cure the heir to the throne. Then Elon no longer wanted to live like this, to be weak and feeble. He decided to commit suicide. But the beast could not kill itself. Bernard tied its hands every night so that Elon would not harm himself. The young man felt sorry for Bernard, who had traveled all over the world in search of a cure. He no longer tried to die, but he did not want to live either. Then rumors began to spread that a wild beast howled every night in Duke Claven's mansion. The main character opened his eyes. Lorena threw her leg over him and snored contentedly on his bed. How long did Elon sleep like that? He only lay down for 1 minute. Once again, the young man was dreaming of this unbearable nightmare. Judging by the sound, Lorena was still in a deep sleep. The girl stretched contentedly and began to open her eyes. She had slept so well today. Wait a minute. Where did she end up? Stop. The girl slept all night in the main character's room. Good morning. How did Ilona sleep? Not very well. Lorena sleeps rather restlessly. It was worth waking her up. Well, at first Elon tried, but she just rolled over onto her other side. That's a shame. I hope she doesn't snore at night. Lorena managed to fall asleep in the bed of a young man who already has a lover, even though he doesn't know about her. Let the maid stop. What's the matter? The master needs something, and what is the expression on Lorena's face now? What a strange question, sleepy and deflated. Well, the girl is worried. Her cheeks are red. Well, great. She's already so ashamed she just wants to collapse. And then there are these questions. Lorena did say she had dark skin, so her cheeks are still chocolate brown. Let the gentleman call if he needs anything. Lauren needs to recover from the night. How terrible that sounded. The girl ran out of the protagonist's private chambers and immediately closed the doors behind her. Inside her, indignation and anger raged at herself and what the hell she was doing. What a fool! The girl started to pound on the innocent door. Why didn't she go to her own bed? After 7 years, boys and girls should sleep in separate rooms, even though she was exhausted yesterday. The girl angrily hit her head against the wall. A trickle of blood ran down her forehead. We need to find Karina. She had already fallen in love with a minor character who was supposed to end up with nothing according to the plot. In the original storyline, the main character didn't notice the Crown Prince at all. What has changed at all? Maybe she will manage to bring them together with Elon now, and then they will still fall in love with each other. In the end, they are both main characters and must give in together. There must be a solution. Wait a minute, there was definitely something wrong with that damn Crown Prince. Wait, this guy is the main villain in this novel. He is an immoral and cruel freak. She should have read the book properly, and now she still has to confront the secret villain. Okay, first we need to deal with Elon. Today is her day off. Lorena ended up in the Harringtons' reception area. Of course, she lied again about going shopping, but the main thing now is to bring the main characters together. It's okay. The girl carried trays when she lived in the village, but it's not according to etiquette. Karina will take care of the arriving guest herself. The servants should not worry unnecessarily. And here is the main character, so Lorena has been waiting for their meeting for a long time. Miss Harrington must have been surprised by her sudden visit. That was true, but she was very curious. And why did the guest tell the Count that she was Lady Karina's debtor? However, the main character herself does not remember anything like this at all. The girl's name is Lorena. She came all the way here and Karina can't even remember her. In that case, maybe the main character will remember the fortune teller she met on the main square. Does Lorena really know that fortune teller? She was her grandmother? What is she talking about? Okay, she needs to gain Karina's trust. Granny had dementia. People around her were often afraid of her and offended her. No one loved her. However, the day before her death, she said that Miss Karina gave her 3 silver coins. Then the main character no longer had any money with her, and she gave everything so that the fortune teller could eat, and she would tell her fortune about the future. A new life awaits the kind girl. A great and passionate love with a dark-haired man is ahead. Thanks to Karina's kindness, Grandma was able to leave this mortal world with a smile on her face. She is so sorry. Until her last breath, the grandmother held those coins to her chest in memory of the ray of light, and her granddaughter also wants to predict her future. As a token of gratitude, and if it is not a burden, Lorena has one request for the main character. The maid asks her to meet one man. It is a matter of life and death. Karina can change someone's life again. Just like it was with her grandmother, Karina is like a ray of sunshine in the darkness. But Karina is engaged now. She can't do that. It would put her in an awkward position. And as her grandmother predicted, her chosen one and true love has dark hair. This engagement is important not only for Karina. There should be no rumors. After all, she will become a member of the imperial family. So the main character would gladly help, but she can't. Oh, it was a secret. Yeah, right. Well, since Karina has told about her secret, she can also name her love the Crown Prince. So at the Harrington house, they told her the truth. And did Lady Karina really love her fiancé? That's right. The girl loves the Crown Prince with all her heart. That's the thing. She said the same thing about Elon in the plot. The matter is bad. Their marriage with the Crown Prince does not have any political subtext at all. Karina is marrying for love. Lorena can feel from here how the main character is in love with this bastard, and where did she go wrong? And how did Karina fall in love with this villain so quickly? Well, Lorena can't change her feelings for her own good. However, the girl cannot leave Ilona, so what will happen to the main character? He certainly doesn't deserve this. The maid did not know about the lady's situation and asked for something unacceptable. Then she would simply tell Lady Karina's fortune. The main character will only be happy with the girl's prediction, but Lorena is not so sure. After her fortune-telling, the maid left the Harrington residence. Leaving the main character in deep thought, her words are very different from her grandmother's. It was easy and joyful to believe the prediction of that old woman in the square. The first time Karina met the Crown Prince was in the Imperial Palace, where she dropped her scarf, and Xavier picked it up and handed it to her. and then she escorted Countess Harrington to the palace. Then his lordship was very surprised that he had never seen or even heard Karina's name. The future ruler would not be able to forget the name of such a lovely lady. Then this prediction immediately popped into his head. It was that very meeting that was destined by fate itself, the moment when Karina met him. The maid called Lady Harrington downstairs. She needed to come down quickly. What was the matter? The Crown Prince has arrived at the Harrington estate and is seeking a meeting with Lady Karina. The heir to the throne was tired of waiting for Miss Karina's visit to the palace. If she had known, she would have prepared for the visit. Xavier had warned her that he would punish her when she called him by his title in private. What does it mean to punish? The Crown Prince bit the girl with greedy and demanding lips. This is the Crown Prince's punishment. Well, Karina might even get used to this. Why does the main character look at the young man like that? Is it too hackneyed and predictable? The fruit of your love will be rejected by society at first, but don't worry, her child will rule the world. Let her take everything that fate gives her and follow the call of her heart. It will lead her to a better life. You need to listen to your heart. It will definitely show you the way. Karina wants to be with Xavier, that's absolutely certain. This man is her destiny. After such words, the Crown Prince will no longer be able to let Karina go. You shouldn't let that maid's words have power over your mind. That's a mistake, and Xavier is her true destiny. There will be two men in Karina's life, both of noble blood. If she senses something is wrong, she should not be afraid to leave. This way, the lady will have everything she wants when Xavier has a rival. The main character will not even look at her chosen one's rival and will not push away her destiny. There is no girl named Lorena on their client list, but she said she buys dresses. And there are also shops with women's dresses here. No, this is the only boutique in the city. The main character seemed to be struck by lightning, which meant that Lorena had lied to him and had lied more than once. But why did she do this to the young man? The blind beast rushed away from the painful truth. Bernard then does not understand at all where the maid could have gone, what else she could need. The main character sighed heavily. He would also like to know this, but alas. They can search the area since his lordship has started searching. No need, they are returning. Last night she came back very late. Today she lied again and disappeared somewhere. Meanwhile, the girl was returning to the beast's estate. So what should she do now? Everything didn't go according to plan. She was sure that as soon as she met Karina, everything would be decided. Elon is exactly the same as described in the novel, but what's wrong with the main character? And how the hell is the girl supposed to unravel this whole tangle of passions? How is she supposed to get back home? So you need to calm down and come up with a new plan, since the circumstances of the story are also new. The flower will wither tomorrow. Will the most beautiful young man in body and soul never regain his sight? So this flower needs to be used, but how to do it, Lorena doesn't understand anything about it. I should have found out this from the main character. At least then there would have been a chance to help poor Elon. And she was just trying to recruit the main character. Well, it started raining. What a day. Well, I'm tired of this day. I need to urgently return to the mansion, pour myself some delicious tea, and regain my peace. And then the solution will come. Claven's estate is already very close. We need to quicken our pace. The maid ran to the main entrance of the estate and almost crashed into the main character. Why is Elon standing in the rain? Why is the gentleman standing in the freezing rain without even an umbrella? Elon will catch a cold. The main character ignored all the girl's questions. He wants to know where Lorena really was. Lorena sneezed loudly. She was soaking wet and apparently sick. What was Elon saying? The girl interrupted him with her sneeze. Let him continue. The main character sighed heavily and assessed the situation. Questions for today are cancelled. Why is this? The girl can answer them. The handsome young man picked her up with a precise movement. The girl doesn't imagine it now. The young man's strong and hot palm is really lying on her waist. And literally a second later, Lorena was already in his arms. What was that? How was that even possible? Let Lord Elon confess immediately. He is not blind. Yes, she can walk herself. The main character carefully carried the girl to the bathroom and put her on the floor. What the? Let Lorena take a hot bath. She needs to warm up so as not to get even more sick. After which the main character cut off all the maid's protests by slamming the door, and that's how they talked. What's going on? This is Duke Claven's personal bathroom. How awkward is this all? Well, since the wonderful hero himself brought her here, she doesn't need to be told twice. Lorena plopped down in the bath. Well, that's good. Elon seemed so upset. Maybe something happened while she was gone. What a thrill! The girl won't have the opportunity to bask in such a luxurious bath for a long time. However, the question of what to do and what to do remained unresolved. Elon relies heavily on her, and Lorena can't bear the thought of him being blind and without Karina. And this is even more painful than the fact that she cannot return to her world. And there is one more problem. She starts to like Elon too much, how complicated everything is. Yours, the manager had difficulty holding in his hands the tray with the tea set where his lordship was carried. The main character was soaking wet, and cold drops were streaming from his hair. The Duke actually decided that walking in the pouring rain was a good idea, and there were reasons for that. What reasons? Sir at least understands how Bernard worries about him. Elon will use his bathroom. And what did the master do with his everything is clear? Apparently Elon gave his to the maid Lorena. That's true, but the protagonist left Bernard's question unanswered, and that's how it always is. At this rate, the manager will lose his mind and every nerve cell. Elon is behaving like a little child. He could get sick. How can that be? The next morning, the maid brought the protagonist breakfast to his private quarters. So today is the very day when the flower must wither, and with it the last chance to cure Elon. For this reason, the girl simply has to find a solution before the end of this day. Elon looks like a zombie. He didn't sleep at all today. The young man just thought a lot at night. So something is bothering the gentleman. Let him quickly lay it out. Whoever dares, Elon wants to ask her a question. The maid is always ready to help her master, so she will answer any of his questions. That's wonderful. The protagonist took a deep breath and blurted out her question about what she thought of Ilona. Oh, well, almost any question. This is what she ran into. Her heart stops next to him, but what should she say out loud? The handsome hero's cheeks immediately flushed. What should he tell her? So my lord wants to know the truth about himself. He really counts on it. The best employer, an example of caring for his subordinates. She admires him every day, quite. The main character meant something completely different when he asked her about her personal opinion about him. What? That Lorena doesn't understand at all what she thinks about Ilona as a person. Elon is the most noble and wonderful person she has ever known in her life. They say that those who have been taller than others all their lives have a hard time coping with illnesses. However, Elon bears such pain with unwavering honor and dignity, and Lorena truly admires him. And now, on that sweet note, it's time for them to start their delicious breakfast. The protagonist clutched the cutlery in his hands. He had one more question for the maid, as he wished. The girl walked around the young man and tied a napkin around his neck. Let Elon ask what he wants. It can't get any worse. In that case, where did Lorena go yesterday? That's who pulled her tongue. Well, to say that she walked around the mall all day and then met her friends is not an option. Okay, the maid found out that there is a way to give Elon his sight back. So the girl decided to first find out everything on her own to make sure it was true. Here the main character began to laugh at what the maid said. Elon calmed down and cleared his throat. The girl apparently doesn't know, but such a method simply doesn't exist. She knew that Elon would say that, that's why she didn't want to say it. Even His Highness tried to heal him. But it was all in vain, so there, with the miraculous medicine, Lorena managed to find it. Well, almost. It's like a girl found out that there is one very rare plant. And if you make a decoction from this flower, it will relieve any ailment. That's the decoction. They tried to treat the young man with something similar. There must be recipes left somewhere. You need to ask Bernard. Elon will drink the potion, but Lorena shouldn't have high hopes. He'll drink anything from her hands. The girl swallowed and placed her hand on his fingers. She was ready to deprive herself of her world just to return Elon's sight. The main character froze. Both their hearts began to beat faster. She had to help him at any cost. Lorena swears to the young man that she will restore his sight and he will see again. And for this, the girl will do everything and agree to any conditions, even to her own detriment. Lorena squeezed Elon's hand tightly and warmly, unconsciously putting all her feelings and desires for him into it. The main character froze, trying to feel this moment. After which he clenched his fist and pulled his hand back. Elon can't fantasize too much again, and the decoction won't help. What will upset Lorena is that he is very grateful to her for her care and such devotion. We need to finish breakfast quickly. The Duke still has business today. Is my lord really going to go to town again? That's right. Ilona needs to visit a tailor, which means the young man has decided to change his wardrobe. Not at all. It will be for Lorena. She never went to the tailor and bought herself a dress, although she wanted to. She just said that, and besides, the gentleman pays her an excellent salary. It's enough for her anyway. The main character was informed that the girl only had one dress for going out. What traitors they were. And such a thing spoils Duke Clavin's honor as a nobleman, so it is not discussed. To be honest, the maid didn't even think about it. In that case, they would go to the boutique after breakfast. The main character began to reluctantly scoop up his soup with a spoon. Yes, indeed. Well, Elon gave a reason, which means good working conditions and excellent salary. Today, in Lorena's words, there was not even a hint of her personal attitude towards the young man and what he actually expected. After a light breakfast, the protagonist and Lorena went to the main and only boutique in the city. Emily, the owner of Boone's shop, she is grateful for his lordship's visit. How can she help them? Duke Clavan would like to order several dresses for this lady, of which there are several, one will be enough. This place is known for its exorbitant prices, and after you leave, your clothes are returned to your employer. But it's still too expensive for a simple maid without documents and a name. 5 outfits are needed for each season. Someone stop this spendthrift. First, they need to take measurements. They will start with the spring wardrobe. Elon has gone crazy. She is a servant, not a lady-in-waiting. All the fabrics are luxurious. Elon will take everything that Lorena will do in these dresses, wash the floors. It's a waste. Then the bell on the boutique door rang. Wow, what an unexpected meeting. Why would a blind man go to such places at all? A nasty voice, rotten speech. This is the heir to the throne. All the residents are chattering about how even the Empress has more of the ruler than he does, and so Xavier chooses a dress for himself. The main character's face immediately changed. Even from here you could smell Xavier's stench and rot. The Crown Prince had no idea that with such eyes Elon would ever leave his mansion. With his primitive and limited mind, it is quite normal that Xavier knows little. The minor character immediately bared his teeth. He had always envied Elon, who had no equal. What's going on there? Where is that noise coming from? Apparently something is wrong there. The girls should wait here. Emily will personally go and check what happened there. The owner of the boutique came out to the guests and immediately bowed. She was glad to welcome His Highness here. Emily apologizes. She was busy with a customer who visited their boutique earlier. The rotten character took a step towards the main character. That's how it was. So a blind animal can distinguish clothes. Why does Elon need this? It would be better if the wounded beast simply remained in his estate and did not waste his strength in vain. Otherwise, Elon might lose not only his sight, but Xavier is so worried about his cousin. Elon pushed the envious brat away with a slight movement. He should worry about his own worthlessness and uselessness. Let him get over the fact that he only got his job because Elon was poisoned. Not everyone is destined to be great. Xavier 6 immediately spoke out in front of Elon, and how funny it was for Mr. Elon to talk like that to the Crown Prince. The beast immediately turned his head towards the guard. He speaks as this pathetic, envious person deserves. Enough, Elon. Even though he is blind, only a fool would not admit that there are still those equal to him in strength and mastery of the sword to this day. So the guard better not poke his toothpick into the mighty beast. And yet, what is Elon doing here? The great beast showed no interest in the female sex. Could it be that Elon had a lover? Steel appeared in the protagonist's voice. This doesn't concern Xavier at all. Let him stay out of it. How interesting. The cousin's words hurt his heart. It has been rotten for a long time. His chosen one can become a member of their family. No way. Lorena can't even change her clothes without getting into trouble. Xavier is ready to help his dear cousin. This brat doesn't want to go inside, does he? Otherwise, what if this is just an ordinary hunter for wealth and the title of their famous family? That would be sad. The villain grabbed the fabric of the fitting room with his hand, but not that. The girl froze in horror. Is this bastard seriously trying to break into a naked lady's fitting room? He was raised by Pithecanthropus. But then Elon intercepted the villain's wrist with lightning speed. How is that possible? Even predators are not so fast and accurate. The insignificant, envious person froze in horror. This simply couldn't be. Elon had lost his sight. The descendant of Odor could not see clearly. Horror flashed in the villain's eyes. But not that. Elon was already invincible. Even a blind man can easily guess and prevent the movements of this cretin. It's not his ruby eyes that make Elon better. As Xavier can see, it's his fortitude, something this coward will never understand. Xavier squealed furiously. Elon, even being blind, looked down on him. Nothing would change that. A gang of curious onlookers had already gathered around the boutique. Well, look, the Crown Prince had started a fight there. Xavier had always envied Sir Elon, and now he decided to attack him when he lost his sight. How cowardly. Well, this is not worthy of a future ruler. Xavier immediately removed his hands from Elon. His Majesty is leaving here. Let the mole be helped to choose clothes for his chosen one. The Crown Prince's 6 immediately rushed after the humiliated master. The choice of outfit does not depend on sight. Sir Elon chose the best without even touching. Yes, the perfect Elon. It's never too late to make money. The Crown Prince will visit the boutique next time he's in the mood. Let Mr. Perfect take care of himself. Even the strongest beast has a weak spot. So after several grueling hours, Duke Clavan's carriage was filled with new dresses. There was an oppressive silence in the carriage. It was necessary to hit the door when the head of this spawn poked through it. Lorena was ready to personally tear this worthless thing apart with her teeth for Elon's sake, and then spend her whole life in prison. What did this bastard want from their master? If Lorena means Xavier, then Bernard agrees. He is such a degenerate. How can this male sampler even pronounce Elon's name? He can't even be his shadow. Even in his own home, no one cares about this brat. Lorena is ready to team up with Bernard and quarter him in the alley. This coward was even afraid to approach Elon before. He is just a pathetic piece of dirt. Lorena will knock him out and Bernard will run over the freak with a carriage. They agreed. Enough speeches. What are Lorena and Bernard discussing there? They're just discussing recipes for decoctions. After all, Miss Lorena found a way to cure the gentleman, and why the words to rip open the belly sounded, Ilona heard. These two are really taking the young man for an idiot. There is no point in being so angry at this worthless guy because of Elon. Insulting members of the imperial family is a serious crime. What's more, they and Bernard are actually subjects of the greatest warrior in the empire. If only Lorena were dressed. Then the girl would have given that worthless coward such a beating. Miss Lorena would have definitely emerged victorious. That's right, and as a trophy, she would bring Xavier's rotten tongue, and that's not too much. Well, maybe a little. What kind of news is this? Doesn't Elon have his own hands? Would the master really deprive his servants of such pleasure? Well, here comes the cold rain again. Bernard will now bring the young gentleman his umbrella. Lorena got very wet yesterday. She had better wait for the umbrella in the carriage. The manager understood everything. Let Miss Lorena not get wet in the pouring rain. After all, just yesterday there was a heavy downpour. Why is the weather so bad, like a frightening messenger? A heavy expression froze on the main character's face. What's the matter? My lord doesn't look very well. Something happened that worries him. Let him tell the girl. Here the main character leaned over and laid his head on Lorena's shoulder. Everything was fine. She shouldn't worry. Apparently, because of the rain, the floor here got wet. The young man's leg twisted, and he leaned on the maid. The beast didn't want to embarrass Lorena at all. The girl immediately thought so. Let this moment last forever. This thought flashed through the heads of both heroes. A salty tear rolled down the handsome young man's cheek. She shouldn't see it. Tears began to drip onto the young man's hands. He needed to go home. The roof of the carriage was leaking. His lordship told Miss Lorena that he would go to bed early tonight, so she was free. Damn crown prince, didn't they praise him as a child? Didn't they come to his matches? Where did this rotten bastard come from? And such a bastard will rule the empire, who hates this country and its people so much. This was tantamount to a death sentence for the empire. All the nonsense had to be knocked out of this cretin. How dare this little rat insult the main character? Just a minute. A flower for Elon. Today is the last day. She almost forgot the most important thing. The girl rushed to run. She needed to quickly pick the flower before it was too late. Karina is a real lucky girl. This wonderful flower usually withers as soon as it gets rained on. And in Ilona's garden, the plant was able to survive for quite a long time, as if it had been waiting for her. That's exactly what the novella said, but now things aren't going according to the plot. It was raining yesterday, and it's still pouring today, so what if she's already late? Ilona is in so much pain and hardship. The girl is ready to give absolutely everything, only he would be happy. Lorena fell to her knees in front of the plant. No, the flower began to wither. The magical glow began to fade. What did she do? We need to somehow save this plant. Tears began to flow down the heroine's cheeks. It was all her fault. She needed to pull herself together. She would always have time to cry. The girl took a deep breath and abruptly plucked the flower from the ground. She would not give up and would not leave Elon. The heroine swore to the main character that she would help him at any cost. Lorena burst into the kitchen and started banging dishes. She had no time left at all. It is necessary to make a medicinal decoction as soon as possible. While the flower has not yet wilted, there is no time to light a fire. And the cook had already gone home. There was no one to ask for help, and at this time the fire was burning only in one room. Lorena burst into the Duke's private chambers. She will apologize to him later. She has urgent business now. For the sake of the decoction, she is ready to do anything. The master can then send her to a madhouse. She needs fire. The maid quickly placed a suitable vessel on the fire and threw in the plant petals. If only it worked. She has no idea if she's doing it right. She should have looked into it more thoroughly. Lorena spent so much time relying on others, and this is where it led her. The girl closed herself off and began to cry quietly. She couldn't let Elon down. He didn't deserve it. The main character approached the maid. Lorena does not want to explain anything to him. She was sorry to disturb Elon's sleep, but she urgently needed to make a decoction from that flower. Lorena was so scared and it felt like she had just ruined everything. There is no point in blaming yourself for anything, and anyway, she doesn't know anything for sure yet. Elon shouldn't risk drinking this. He can't possibly waste the efforts of his faithful companion. Lorena doesn't even know how to properly prepare the decoction. It's an order from her employer. The girl tried so hard for Elon, this is the least he can do. Let her pour him her brew. Tears are frozen in her violet eyes. She so wants this young man to be happy. The girl's hands were shaking. She could hardly hold the vessel with the decoction. She was so scared. This brew looks absolutely terrible. Lorena thinks it will taste even worse. However, the main character drank the contents of the mug at once, which is what Elon does. What if the girl cooked the decoction incorrectly? Is it really possible to risk your health like that? The young man smiled broadly. Elon had already said that he was ready to drink anything from her hands. It's enough for the beast that Lorena tries so hard for him. The girl's heart sank and missed a beat. For the sake of this young man, she would turn both worlds upside down, but she would find a cure. The maid will find a better medicine. She is sure that such a thing exists. The main character nodded to her. The young man would wait for him impatiently. Meanwhile, in the imperial palace, the crown prince threw a glass of wine at the wall. After a few bottles of wine, the furniture went flying. That damn beast. A smug grin never left his face, even though he was blind. He was better than Xavier. And in general, Elon was happy today. How dare he be so happy? This drives the crown prince crazy. Elon continues to drive Xavier crazy. Even when the heir to the throne no longer sees his scarlet eyes, odor still hurts him. He always liked his eyes, the color of the sky blue, because the sky rises above all that exists. This color suited Xavier like no other, but the true descendants of God have scarlet eyes. It is for this reason that Xavier was considered a scumbag since childhood, despite the fact that he was the Emperor's blood son. He was not recognized by the gods, which means Xavier is weak and unworthy. A crown prince without scarlet eyes is a disgrace to the dynasty. For the first time, a descendant of Odor was born in a collateral line. How could this happen? Xavier is not worthy of Odor's recognition. The day Elon Clavan, the child who inherited the eyes of a god, was born, Xavier's world shook. All the court nobility demanded that the heir to the throne be a true and worthy descendant of the god Odor. The nobles begged the emperor to adopt Elon and make him his successor. He is the strongest of all generations. They must protect the greatness of their empire. Everyone knows that Xavier is cowardly and rotten. The crown prince considered this a half-forgotten legend, and everyone decided to elect a new emperor following it. The throne should be Xavier's. Mommy is so sorry. She didn't want him to be born with such eyes. It was the scarlet eyes that drove the false crown prince crazy. Elon became his death sentence. Why then did he blind this beast? He managed to get out even from there and enjoy life. The blind beast is still better than Xavier, and everyone knows it. He can't hide it. His Highness called the guard to come in and close the door behind him. Elon apparently has a lover. Xavier must know everything about this girl. It will be done. The crown prince wants to deprive the beast of everything, trample him into hell, from where he will never escape. It's even interesting who deserved the recognition and heart of the greatest of the Odor's descendants. The drunken, envious man began to gulp wine from the bottle. The beast has no right to happiness. That same night, the main character woke up from hellish and unbearable pain, and the roar of a beast was heard in the estate. The young man jumped up, blood gushed from his eye sockets. Elon roared in pain, and servants immediately ran into the room. Bernard asked in horror what was the matter, what had happened to their master. His eyes, they burn so much. Elon is in so much pain. Scarlet streams of blood flowed down his cheeks. What the girl has done, she won't survive if something happens to him, especially if it's her fault. They still have some painkillers left. Let Lorena bring them here immediately. This is the first time Elon has experienced such agony. Is it really the case that the main character suffers such torment because of the maid? Bernard carefully covered his master with a blanket, and the young man took a sleeping pill and a painkiller. This will help Elon at least rest a little and regain his strength. The manager turned to the maid, and he and Lorena needed to talk. The maid must have been very scared for the master, that's true. Bernard was probably also very worried. He was worried, but he was not at all scared. This happens quite often, but the girl had never seen anything like it before. It just all started before Lorena started working here. Whenever they try to cure the gentleman, he always experiences unbearable pain, hence the nickname of the Howling Beast. They tried everything to restore Elon's sight, but each time he screamed furiously, experiencing hellish pain. The gentleman even tried to scratch out his own eyes, and since then he has been called the Blind Beast. No medicine could help him. When Lorena came here, he had already lost all hope. So Elon knew about the consequences, knew that he would experience such unbearable mice and terrible pain. The young man was sure that the potion would not save him, but he still drank it for Lorina's sake. The main character now suffers all this endless pain only because of her. Elon trusts her so much that he drank the potion without even asking what exactly Lorina put in it. The girl should not blame herself, after all. She tried for the sake of his lordship, which is exactly what the maid gave him. The girl gave in to her fists. It's all her fault. She didn't study the issue. The maid is not even sure that she did everything correctly, that is, how. What was she thinking Lorina gave their master a concoction that she herself knew nothing about? She is sure that they definitely haven't tried this medicine, but she can't remember its name. It's unacceptable. How dare she risk Elon's life and health like that? Lorina understands everything. She blames herself for everything no less than Bernard. So okay, where did she get this recipe from? The girl cannot name the source. No one will believe her anyway. Lorina becomes increasingly suspicious in Bernard's eyes, even though she cared so much about their master. And now it looks like a pretense to gain his trust and harm him. Lorina would never do that. This will be decided after Elon regains consciousness. The gentleman will decide Lorina's fate. The girl is ready for this. Let her refrain from visiting his lordship for now. Bernard will look after the master and let the maid wait for his decision. How can you be so stupid and useless? She caused such pain to Elon. The main character has been poisoned so many times, of course, it looks exactly like that. The young man probably suffered so much not only because of her decoction, but it was still terrible. The girl wandered for a long time and tormented herself, and out of habit she came to the chambers of his lordship. Since she's already here, I should at least ask for forgiveness for everything. She asks Bernard for forgiveness, but she needs to see him and ask him for forgiveness for all the pain. Who's walking around Ilona's door? That means the gentleman isn't sleeping. It's Lorina. She came to apologize. And why is the girl standing at the door of his chambers? Well, she is simply under suspicion now. It is better for her not to come in. This is Bernard's doing, yes, but in his place, Lorina would have done the same. It all looks really suspicious. It hurts Lorina to see Elon suffer. She could not even imagine that he would have to endure such pain. She has nothing to apologize for. It's not true. It's all her fault. The Duke thought she would run away, but Lorina stayed. But why did the young man decide this? Because everyone else did exactly the same for Lorina. The girl is not going to run away from Elon. He really wants to believe it. Elon would definitely be able to see again if only she could become the main character and cure him. Then the girl would take away all his pain and make his life happy and bright. If after the maid's decoction her sight returns, the Duke will make her the mistress of the estate. What nonsense. She'll be happy to help. Lorina never wanted to be a manager, but that's not the point. Sir Elon is still in pain. The girl will not bother him anymore. Let him rest and recover. Just think, in such agony, Elon still had the strength to smile. In fact, the main character feels hope for the first time since being poisoned and losing his sight. And besides, the warrior relies on Lorina in everything. His fate is in her hands. The next morning, a girl's scream was heard in the Earl of Harrington's estate. This cannot be. Miss Karina is fine. How did everything go? The maid managed to find out what her mistress asked for. The maid swallowed nervously. His Highness the Crown Prince had been too busy all day today. That is, Xavier didn't even give Karina any note. He didn't give it. Everything is fine with Miss. She doesn't look well. The main character fell helplessly to her knees. What was happening? Her emerald eyes froze in horror. How could Xavier do this to Karina? She is special and he is her true love. After they spent the night together, Xavier avoids her for the 4th day in a row. He simply ignores her. No, that can't be. Karina is just making it up. The Crown Prince is really very busy. Let the maid prepare the carriage, just like that. My lady is sure of it. The girl's voice sounded painfully steely. Karina immediately went to the Imperial Palace. The Crystal Palace, the Crown Prince's chambers, and that's all. There are few people working in the Duke's palace. It is also difficult to keep track of Sir Elon, since he hardly ever leaves the estate. Why does the heir to the throne need to know the reasons for the guard's failure? And he calls this an investigation. Lorina's identity is unknown. She was hired through an agency. There is no information about her previous place of work. Let the spies continue their work, woman whose identity is unknown. She has no documents, which means she is a dark horse, a criminal, a prisoner of war, or maybe even a runaway gypsy. A curious girl. This says a lot about Elon's tastes, and whether she is a servant, most likely a concubine. So she's flirting with a savage who's never approached a girl, which means she's an experienced seductress. The Crown Prince changed his mind. No surveillance. Let the guards bring that maid here personally. Xavier is very curious about what the animal will do when his favorite toy is taken away from him. There was a knock at the door of His Majesty's private chambers. Well, who else was there? This is the butler. What's the matter? Xavier is busy now. Miss Karina requests an audience with the Crown Prince. Lady Karina, yes, the daughter of the Earl of Harrington, Karina Harrington. Xavier can't even remember her face. Does he really have to meet each of them? Let the butler reject this Karina's request on the personal order of his lordship. Now everyone get out of here. Xavier needs to think this through. The heir to the throne stepped on a portrait of a girl with her description. There is something to it. The secret villain of the novel picked up a piece of paper from the floor and began to read the description of her appearance. So this maid has long blonde locks, ivory skin, and violet eyes. Those facial features seem so familiar, it seems like Xavier is starting to remember her. Blue eyes flashed maniacally. The villain will be waiting for their imminent meeting with impatience. How is Sir Elon feeling? Well, the gentleman is in an incomprehensible state right now. That's how it is. Usually the painful attacks with bleeding stop after 2 or 3 days, but not this time. Elon has been suffering from horrific agony for more than 6 days now, something that has never happened before. And all this is because Lorena brewed this healing decoction incorrectly, and suddenly his pain will never go away. If Karina had cooked it, Elon would have recovered already. The master has one request for the maid. And what? My lord asks the maid to buy for him that chocolate from the Cardinal's cafe. She and the maid were there together, so the master asked Lorena about it. Bernard can rely on the maid. Lorena will immediately run and bring the master some chocolate. The girl clenched her fists, beat herself in the chest in a warlike manner, and rushed to get the chocolate. After which she suddenly stopped and turned back. What the? Let Mr. Elon be patient a little longer. Lorena will be back very soon. She is there and back. It shall be done, Sir Bernard. Yes, she is like a soldier on an important military mission. What a lady. In fact, Elon simply sent her away so that she would not have to see his terrible suffering. The maid is in a hurry. She urgently needs a bar of their signature chocolate. They have so many orders today. The girl should wait. Let the boy hurry. It's really important. At the next table sat a red-haired girl in a white robe, hiding her face under a hood. Elon hasn't eaten anything for a whole week. He's completely tormented by pain. It would be great if he could at least eat some chocolate. Blood, she was with the main character here the last time. He was fine. And then Lorena ruined everything. If the young man cannot recover, Lorena will never forgive herself and will say goodbye to her native world. Here is an order for a young and hurrying lady. The maid is very grateful for the efficiency and understanding. She needed to get back to the estate quickly. Elon was waiting for her. The stranger immediately jumped up from her seat. By the time the girl returned, the main character's attacks of pain should have stopped. As soon as the girl came out onto the main square, someone grabbed her by the hand. Lorena immediately turned around in fear at her new acquaintance, wondering if they were trying to sell her again. Wait a minute, this time the maid is being chased by a girl and not by scary hulks. And what does this red-haired lady in a robe want from a simple servant? What if this girl was familiar with the real Lorena, the former owner of this body? The stranger took off her hood from her head. Did she not recognize her? It was Iris. Firstly, the maid definitely doesn't recognize this Iris, and secondly, she's still holding her hand. How does Iris know the maid? Here Lorena is in trouble again. The girl just went out for a bar of chocolate. Why is it always like this with her? I wish she could live a peaceful day at least. How could she forget Iris? Bitter tears flowed down the stranger's cheeks. Why was she crying right away? Lorena has no idea who's in front of her, but Iris looks so upset she can't just leave. And the girl couldn't first let the maid go. What is Iris doing there? Why is she stuck? 2 more people in white robes approached the 2 girls on the main square. They were sectarians or something. What do they all want from Lorena? She has no money. She is a simple servant. Why are they looking at her like that? Is it really Lady Alicia in front of the servants who? Hadusha is the sanctuary of the main temple, which was located in the capital. This is the place where priests are trained to be able to hear the voice of God. According to the teachings of the Hadusha temple, what the priests hear is the voice of the true God. And only those who are able to hear the divine voice become true priests. Such a sacred position cannot be reached through money, power, or social status. The only way is a blessing. One day, a candidate for the position of the highest priest appeared. She was Alicia Uther. She was considered the true diamond of the noble family of Duke Uther. At the age of 3, Alicia entered the temple and already led 100 believers, participating in all services. The beauty of this girl was fantastic, but she was valued not only for that. The blonde temple employee was considered practically a saint. All who listened to her prayers repented of their sins and became devoted believers. So she followed them, thinking that they knew her, which meant that now her character's name was Alicia. And why are all these people looking at the girl like that? She somehow feels uneasy about it. The Temple of Hadush is beautiful, but the priests were clearly mistaken. She is not Alicia, and it is time for her to go. None of these people would ever confuse Alicia with anyone else. No, Lorena is a walking disaster. And not the opinion leader and the saint, but the holy power of the priest says that it is Lady Alicia in front of them. Well, that means the holy power of a novice is not something he should rely on. What was that just now? That thing above my head? It wasn't just static electricity. Or maybe the girl imagined it all because of stress. Lady Alicia definitely doesn't remember anything. Iris clenched her fists. Alicia didn't have to worry about anything anymore, and she didn't intend to. The red-haired servant took the girl's hand again. She would help her return her fragments of memory. Elon is already tired of waiting for his chocolate. That's enough impressions for today. They'll talk another day. But where was the girl in such a hurry to return to? Because Lady Alicia's place is here, it is determined by fate. Well, how many more times does a girl need to repeat this? She has obligations and work. Here the conversation between the two girls was interrupted by the clicking of someone's heels. This couldn't be. Opposite Lorena stood a middle-aged woman with the same violet eyes as hers. She looked so much like Lorena that the woman had already given up hope of seeing Alicia. Tears appeared in the woman's eyes. She had prayed for this meeting for so long. Alicia was alive and well. She couldn't have dreamed of more. The woman hugged Lorena tightly. The stranger thought that she had lost her baby forever. How happy she was to see her again and just hug her. Alicia is not in pain. Where has she been all this time? Now her girl is finally safe. The priests warned the woman that Alicia had lost her memory. Was this really true? The baby doesn't even recognize her own mother. Could it be that Laura really received the body of this very Alicia? The woman's violet eyes showed pain and, at the same time, relief. They are definitely related to her. Laura always wanted to know about the past of the owner of her body, and here is the answer. And if the girl can't return to her native world, then it will be better to have relatives here. There is no more time to waste. If you stay in the temple under the open sun for a little longer, the chocolate will melt. Lorena is very sorry. She needs to finish here as soon as possible and return to Elon. He needs her so much. The girl wanted to know if the temple servants could prove to her that she was Alicia. The maid must know this for sure, because it determines her present and future. The rays of the setting sun broke through the window of the protagonist's bedroom. The blind beast let out a dull roar of pain, wondering why it was taking so long to go away this time. To be honest, the warrior had never experienced such pain and was sure that he would simply die from pain shock. The protagonist called his faithful manager, Bernard, immediately entered the bedroom. How is his young master feeling? The pain has subsided a little. He is very thirsty. My lord had never experienced such severe pain attacks after taking medication before. Perhaps it was because Elon really wanted to take this particular medicine. Probably the manager thoughtfully handed the young man a cup of tea. But where is Lorena now? Well, Elon sighed deeply, which means the girl still hasn't returned to the estate. Bernard bit his lip nervously. It hurt him to upset his master before Lorena arrived. Lorena is probably deliberately staying longer. It's hard to listen to the beast's screams all day long. Let Bernard send 3 people to the cafe. If the girl is not there, then let them look in the surrounding area. Whatever, the manager will clean up a bit here. No need, everything is fine. While the manager is free, the warrior is once again plunged into his darkness of loneliness and fear. Will she return? Elon feels like he is being swallowed up by darkness, that he is drowning, and there is no one nearby. He does not see any light or way out of here. In this soft bed, which had long been a refuge from the outside world, Elon writhed in pain. The blind beast sank deeper and deeper into endless and merciless loneliness. He misses Lorena's care so much, but at the same time he wants to keep her away so that she doesn't see his suffering. In the past, the greatest warrior of the empire would have regarded concern or pity as an insult. Elon didn't understand then that this is how people show their feelings and attitude towards people dear to them. But the main character could never have imagined that he would need someone's care so much. If only Lorena would come back, and come back soon. Elon is waiting for her so much. Meanwhile, the girl wandered around the temple, accompanied by her new acquaintances from her character's past. This temple is so huge and majestic, everything around is overgrown with bindweed. Where did these ladies bring the maid? What kind of place is this? There is absolutely nothing in her fragments of memory. Let Alicia follow Iris. She needs proof of the truth of their words, that's all. The red-haired temple attendant held a mirror up to her and asked her to take off her clothes for a moment. What kind of requests are these? They've known each other for less than a day. Iris at least invited him to dinner first. Iris let out an impatient breath and began to pull off her clothes. What was she doing? They needed to look at her back. Let them first explain what is going on. Enough empty chatter. Mother held the mirror up to the girl. There was a mark on her shoulder blade, and what is it? What kind of tattoo? Iris exhaled heavily. It wasn't a tattoo, then took off her robe and exposed her shoulder. The girl began to examine the back of her new acquaintance with interest. She had the same sign. It was a special scar, a mark of the priests, a sign of recognition by God. Basically, this sign appears on the back in this area, which means it is something like a birthmark. When a priest chosen by a god undergoes an initiation ceremony, a scar appears after the ceremony. And Laura had no idea that this novella had such a plotline. Well, what a thing! The girl took over her character's body a year ago, but only now learned about its owner. After all, she was busy helping the main character all the time. Lady Alicia managed to remember at least something. Apparently she really is the same Alicia that everyone is talking about here. But this can only mean one thing. The real Alicia died, and so Laura took over her body. And besides, Laura definitely doesn't hear the voice of God. She's not the great Alicia. Iris is also a priestess, which means she can hear the voice of God. Of course, otherwise the girl simply would not have been able to get into the Hadush temple. But if Laura is Alicia, then she too should be able to hear the divine voice, but she cannot. And why did she lose her memory at all? How did she end up on the riverbank? An elderly couple saved her and nursed her back to health. This can't be. Alicia was found on the banks of the river Laurent, and what about their faces? Lady Alicia was on her way to Gros for the weekend, but her crew and escort were attacked. The attackers were brutal. Every member of the crew and escort was killed on the spot. That is, how were they killed? It all looks like a deliberate assassination attempt, like a militant. Laura definitely found herself in a romantic novel. She doesn't remember anything like that at all. She's not much of a reader, of course. This lake is a week's ride from here by carriage, and this road passes through very dangerous places. And judging by the dates, Laura took over her character's body around the time the old Alicia disappeared. So maybe she is not Alicia, but she saw the mark herself, how after contemplating the sacred sign, one can deny everything. Why shout like that? She has enough information for today. Lorena needs to return to the estate. Of course she would like to know more about this story, but she doesn't want to worry Elon. The mother sighed heavily and looked at the girl, asking where her little girl had been all this time. They searched for Alicia all over the empire, but they never found her, and in the end, everyone decided that she drowned in a mountain river. Yes, she just worked as a maid in the estate of the Duchy of Claven, what? By the way, she was making a good living, and today she went out on his behalf, so it was time for her to go. But how can Alicia not understand that her real home is here? It is her destiny and duty, no matter how many more times women say it. Lorena will never abandon the main character, no matter what it means for her, it is clear to them. Mother squeezed the girl's shoulders tightly. She cannot return to the mansion to Duke Claven. Meanwhile, it was already deep night in the Empire. But where was this irresponsible girl? The manager was setting up the service in the kitchen and sighed heavily, his poor master. The unbearable pain does not subside, although it gives Elon a little time to rest and sleep. And no matter how strong his lordship is, if this pain doesn't stop, Elon will simply go crazy from it. Bernard has seen a lot, but even he is incredibly scared and hurt for his master. And what about him then? The roar of the wounded beast stopped, which meant another attack of pain had subsided, and I needed to go to the master. The manager never found Lorena in the city. When would she deign to return back? After all, the maid had to go to the cafe on the main square, so where did she go again? The manager looked guiltily at his young master. He had nothing to please him with yet. Lorena never came. Bernard heard that the shouts of my lord had stopped. He needed to drink tea. Here the voice of the faithful assistant suddenly stopped. He could not believe his eyes. The protagonist raised his head to Bernard, his scarlet eyes of odor shining again. His vision returned. The greatest warrior of the empire and the descendant of a god has returned. He sees again that Lorena really saved him. The manager fell to the floor in shock. His master's eyes turned scarlet again. Could my lord see again? The main character got out of bed. Bernard was so happy. The man's voice trembled with happiness. Elon straightened up with difficulty and began to stagger. He shouldn't act like a hero right away, after all. He had been ill for so long. During all this time of unbearable torment, my lord was confined to his bed for a long time and was clearly weakened. He needed time. Bernard will help his master. Elon is very grateful to him for his loyalty. He was always by his side. A tear ran down the manager's cheek. He was immensely glad to serve such a person and was sincerely happy for him. The main character has not been able to stand on his own for a long time without relying on his cane. He needs to get used to it. What happiness! Bernard always believed that Elon's sight would return. He is the most worthy and bright of the descendants of the god Odor. By the way, regarding the fantastic healing of vision, where is the savior herself? Why hasn't Lorena returned to the estate yet? It's already night outside. Where is she? The church had already heard the news. The archbishop had returned, but hadn't he gone to Gros-Rosa? After all, it was announced to everyone that the archbishop had gone there and stayed to investigate the disappearance of Alicia. The temple servant stared at his interlocutor in shock, which meant he didn't know anything. Lady Alicia returned to their temple yesterday. She was found in the main square of the capital near a local cafe. Iris would like to introduce Lady Alicia to their archbishop. His name is Sir Alejandro. The archbishop had a strong and determined look, silver hair and dark eyes. This appearance suited him very well. This character has an incredibly powerful aura. Even Lorena feels it. She is pleased to meet him. However, the archbishop's face did not express the same emotions. Alicia must have had some kind of problem with this guy. Why is Alejandro looking at the girl like that? What did she do to him? Maybe she refused him or offended him in some way. May the blessing of the 5 gods of odor be upon the young miss. Oh well. Mother Alicia immediately bowed in response. May the blessing of the 5 gods of odor be upon the archbishop. Judging by the fact that the lady didn't remember the greeting, Alejandro, she also forgot how bad things were. So many memories disappeared from Alicia's head. She didn't even remember her own name, that's all. The archbishop looked at the girl carefully, and what happened to her hair, it seemed to have been cut off. Lorena doesn't understand anything. Something's wrong with her Armenian. Oh, Iris completely forgot to explain. All priests bleach the ends of their hair, reflecting their determination to become the voice of God. Alicia's hair was also bleached, but her strands seemed to be like that right away. How annoying. Even after losing her memory, Alicia no longer heard the voice of God. She didn't hear it. She has a mark, but she does not hear the voice of God. Perhaps Alicia remembers the secret first phrase that she heard. The very one that is needed to become a priest of their temple. She has no ideas. The archbishop became blacker than a thundercloud. And what should they do with Alicia? Mother has no idea what to do. Alicia does not hear the voice of God, does not remember the secret words from her first insight. She will not be able to become a priest. But how is that possible? Her daughter was supposed to become the next archbishop. This is her destiny. Apparently the gods no longer favor Alicia, but she still has the mark. The gods did not leave her. What the archbishop said that was not clear was that Alicia would be excommunicated from their temple. That was the final decision. This is all a bad dream. Alicia's place is right here. Everyone knows why Alejandro is doing this to her. The mother begs the archbishop to have mercy on her daughter and allow her to stay here in Hadushi. The sanctuary will make a decision regarding Alicia's excommunication. Why is this woman so upset? Well, she won't receive a sacred title, but she's alive and well. Is an archbishop really such a clear profession after all? Alicia is only 20 years old. Alejandro must promise that if Alicia regains her memory, there will be no excommunication. It seems that this woman is serious and does not intend to give up so easily. She apparently needs this position more. It is not up to him to decide. The Duchess must understand that it is unknown whether Alicia will be able to hear the voice of God. So all that remains for all the servants is to wait and let the will of the 5 gods of odor be done. And until then, Lady Alicia Uther will be excommunicated from the Temple of Hadusha and forced to leave this place. The girl herself was actually planning to leave this temple, so why play out such a scene? Why is this woman so upset? Alicia is only 20 years old. There will be other professions. To be honest, Lorena doesn't even know what she needs to say right now. It seems like Duchess Uther needs to be calmed down. It's not Laura's fault, but that still doesn't make things any easier. This is probably how parents feel when their child can't move on after finishing the best school. Lorena is sorry that she doesn't remember anything, but she will definitely be able to live happily, and that is the most important thing for any parent. Everyone has their own path. Alicia will work hard and make up for lost time. There is no reason to be sad. Let Mother start teaching Lorena. She is capable and will quickly catch up. The woman immediately rushed to hug the girl. What a parade of emotional scenes today. The sweet and beloved daughter wants so much to please her mother, but she doesn't remember anything at all, not even her. Let the girl just trust the Duchess. She will definitely come up with something. The girl carefully and slowly placed her hand on Duchess Uther's shoulder as I wondered about Elon, after which she squeezed him tightly. It felt like Lorena herself was about to burst into tears. On the main square, at a table in the Cardinal Café, sat a young man of incredible beauty and strength. The clumsy waitress dropped a cup of hot tea and immediately rushed to clear everything from the table. The girl was so sorry, she was going to clean everything up now. The waitress began to look at the main character. The girl's cheeks immediately flushed red. How handsome this young man was. Was that even possible? Everything is fine, the waitress can go. Elon looked at everyone present. She is nowhere to be found. A whole horde of curious ladies had already gathered around the main character, wondering who this handsome young man was. It's so noisy here. Last time there weren't so many female voices here, and everything is a little different than Elon thought. Lorena was clearly embellishing the reality. All the tables were already old and dirty. Each window has faded, long unwashed curtains. Yeah, this girl definitely lied to the main character. Everything is much more inconspicuous here. The main character entered the cafe and met the same young man who sold the chocolate to Lorena. Elon is looking for a girl here. 3 days ago, she ordered their signature chocolate from Cardinal. Their signature chocolate is quite popular. There are many people who buy this chocolate as a gift. You can't remember them all. This girl has a very remarkable appearance. A young man would definitely not be able to forget her. So, a remarkable appearance. And what did this very girl look like then? The young man himself had never seen her in person, but Lorena had described her face, hair, and skin to him. The maid said that she had dark skin, red hair, and blue eyes. And Lorena also said that day right in this cafe that she had unusual facial features. So the young man should have definitely remembered the girl with dark skin and atypical facial features. But the guy would definitely remember someone like that. But absolutely no one comes to mind. He feels sorry. That's all Elon wanted to know from this young man. He's grateful, it's payment, but it's too much. Apparently the Duke came here too late. How could he find this girl? Bernard begs the gentleman to stop. His eyes have not fully recovered, and he again goes somewhere. Even if Bernard doesn't even try to stop the young man, he still doesn't know where Lorena is now. Elon will do it himself. The manager begs the Lord to stop and take care of himself. Elon had been blind for 2.5 years. His eyes have long since become unaccustomed to the light, and if he overexerts himself, he will cause them irreparable harm. If Lorena found out that Elon had lost his sight again while searching for her, she would be heartbroken. Bernard's words actually make sense. Elon does not want to hurt the girl and cause her pain. But it's been so long since they last met. Where could she be? Let Cedric send Duke Clavane to the messenger, as it pleases his majesty. Cedric, knight of the great knight Claven, everything will be done. The escort awaits his command. Faithful Cedric carries out the Lord's orders for 2 days without sleep. The knight is simply glad that his sight has returned. The knight was glad to serve such a great and pious man. Cedric knocked on the door and a man came out. They definitely came to the right place. They need a group of mercenaries who are engaged in searching for people. After which he sent 2 young men inside. The main character went down the stairs. He must find her. It was noisy and crowded inside. Men were drinking wine and telling stupid jokes. Elon was looking for someone. If this person is currently in the capital, then the payment for finding him will be 100 gold. For other search locations, you will have to pay extra. The price increases depending on the distance of the object. The main character threw a heavy bag of money onto the bar counter with 1,000 gold coins inside. The man behind the counter was immediately speechless. This should definitely be enough for all the expenses. And who needs to be found for such a huge sum of money? Elon is looking for a girl named Lorena. She is 27 years old, red hair and blue eyes, and is shoulder length. Just for the record, this is a runaway wife. Their guild does not drag those who do not want it by force. Lorena is not his wife. Well, that's great, they'll manage. Then this matter lies with their guild. The protagonist went out with Cedric again onto a busy street. My lord has one more task for the night today. Cedric listens attentively to his master. There aren't many people living in the capital. Lorena couldn't just disappear. Someone definitely saw her. The sound of broken dishes and unbridled rage could once again be heard in the Crown Prince's private chambers. What he just said, the future ruler now heard, it was all some kind of nonsense. How could some girl disappear right in front of the Imperial Guards? Is she a ninja or something? Lorena hardly left the estate. Their scouts searched the entire servants' quarters. She was nowhere to be found. This girl seemed to evaporate into thin air. Are they complete idiots? Lorena's thing could have been in Elon's own chambers. Lorena could not be in the chambers of Lord Claven. For some reason, my lord did not share a bed with a servant. Why? This is still to be understood. The maid only brought food to Sir Elon, and they talked for a long time. But they didn't spend the night together, so why did Elon buy her so many outfits? They have nothing in common. If this lady is an ordinary servant and not a concubine, then what is the point? The beast then grabbed Xavier's hand with obvious rage, looking possessive. Elon made it very clear that the crown prince should not dare touch his woman, more and more curious. Let these cretins find this girl even at the cost of their own lives. That's clear, that's for sure. The woman so desired by the beast will become the best prey for the heir to the throne. He needs her. Meanwhile, the Uther Duchy mansion, Alicia's old house and Laura's new house. Duke Uther rose from the table and greeted his daughter. Alicia was glad to see her father. Duke Gillian Uther, how did your daughter sleep in her old bedroom? The whole house missed her so much. The girl slept well, just like her father did. The Duke always sleeps like a log. Let his daughter start eating before the food gets cold. 3 days have passed since Laura arrived at the mansion of her body's owner, the pleasant Uther family. The girl had already managed to be convinced that the Duke and Duchess were good and kind people. That is why the atmosphere in the estate itself was warm and friendly. The servants were so happy about Alicia's return. To be honest, the girl was stunned and literally knocked off her feet by such a warm greeting. The estate itself is very bright and cozy. The food here is incredibly delicious. Laura likes it here. But what is interesting is that, apart from the Duchess, no one was upset about her excommunication from the Hadusha temple. Apparently for the others it doesn't mean as much as it does for the mother. They are just happy to see her alive and well. It may be that the real Alicia ended up as a servant in this temple only because of the will of the Duchess herself. That's where the daughter is. Alicia has absolutely no time to hang out here. What? Duchess Morelia Uther, today all the necessary teachers will arrive for your daughter. This is not the time to be idle. Morelia doesn't want to let her daughter come to her senses. Enjoy returning home. Why waste time? If Alicia wants to go out into society, it's too late to study. They will start with etiquette and the history of the empire. Of course, she promised to study hard, but why go overboard like that? It was just support in difficult times. So as soon as Alicia has finished eating, let him immediately go to his teachers. The girl obediently lowered her head. Okay, what did she want anyway? She just took and ran away. I thought that if I didn't work anymore, then all this endless studying would be behind me. But everything has become much worse. This Morelia is a real tyrant and despot. How much longer can you torture a girl? She actually went through so much stress that she lost her memory. But instead of parental love, my mother received a stack of textbooks. What kind of woman is she? Alicia was called by a maid named Lori. Well, finally she was here. She managed to find out something. Of course, the maid found out what her mistress asked her about, so let her tell her quickly. The greatest warrior of the empire and descendant of Oder has finally regained his sight. Alicia can believe it. Is this true? Lori knows about it for sure from an ancestral source. Alicia is so happy about it. So everything will be fine with Elon. Tears rolled down the girl's cheeks. Her heart began to beat faster. His lordship is almost healthy. Will soon return to society and politics. They have opened a recruitment of new servants for the estate. Lori's friend really wants to transfer there. But how did Alicia find out about the Duke? She always lived in the Hadusha temple. Is it possible that the lady hears the voice of the gods again? Perhaps the gods have determined her new destiny. Not at all. It's a very long and strange story, not for the impressionable. How can you be so dazzlingly beautiful, even with tears in your eyes? Something needs to be done about this. Lori is very happy to be Alicia's maid. It's time for her to get ready for class. The maid can go. Of course, if the gentlemen need an assistant, then let my lady just call her. Well, finally, the long-awaited peace and quiet. She had never been this tired even at work for Elon. What a relief. The girl's heart seemed to have thrown off its shackles. How happy she was for Elon. The main character will now be able to see again, will be able to become happy again and live a full life. Lorena herself disappeared so quickly and suddenly, she didn't even say goodbye or explain herself. It was very ugly of her. But she was only his guide. Elon definitely won't want to look for her. She has everything. She's only a servant who saw his weakness. However, the girl would so like to see the handsome young man again, now sighted. At least one more time to be near him, of course. Such a young man does not feel the same for her. The girl will not torment herself with empty illusions. Greed is speaking in her now. He is so dear to her heart. Writing to him is also not an option. Lorena will remind him of the times when he was blind, and he clearly won't want to meet. Lorena promised the main character to always be by his side, but here she is, running away and not even explaining herself. And even if they accidentally meet in the capital, Elon will never recognize her. The main character has no idea what the girl looks like. He thinks she looks like the South Korean flag. You have to live as if Lorena never existed. The etiquette teacher has arrived. Well, the hard labor begins. In fact, this must be correct, because Lorena was not supposed to exist in this world. If she wants to see the end of the novel, she must avoid its main characters, so she is now Elisha Uther. Of course, all her previous plans were not crowned with success and logic, but she has no other ideas. In this world, there is only one person close to her soul, but now he doesn't need her. She is completely alone again. Meanwhile, the main character loudly put the cup on the table. Where can I find this damn Lorena? In this cafe, Lorena once asked her to meet. 3 days have passed and she still hasn't come. It's such a nondescript place, and it's not even known whether this fortune teller will show up here or not. However, the main character could not think of any other way to find this girl. What bad luck. Karina was sure that she would become the flower of the empire, that a great future awaited her. Karina always considered herself special. Happiness was literally supposed to fall on her. And where is it? The Crown Prince is a dark-haired youth who is destined by fate itself. And who would have thought that Xavier would simply use Karina and then forget about her as his next passion? All aristocrats value the innocence of their bride, but Karina turned out to be a fool and fell for the sweet talk. And the Earl and Countess Harrington were so looking forward to a marriage proposal from the imperial family, and what happened in the end? Lorena was right. She needed to find that second man. Whoever it might be, he should provide her with a happy life. But who did the fortune teller mean? Who could be the rival crown prince? It's so noisy here. This cafe is really third-rate. What is Lorena doing here? The whole environment is incredibly dirty. Entry is free for everyone. It's scary to even think about the kitchen. However, if Karina doesn't meet Lorena here today, she will have to come back here again and again. The young man had noticed the lady in the hat here a long time ago. She was alone here. Not at all. Karina was waiting for her friend. Oh well, the young man doesn't think so at all, so let him go and think again. Karina furiously hit the table with her fist. It wasn't clear at first that he wasn't her equal. He quickly got out of here. Why is this girl talking to the guy in such a tone? Does this scum at least understand who she is? The young man wanted to have sex with this girl in a good way because she had a pretty face. The guy angrily grabbed the main character's hand. What is this idiot doing? He quickly removed his hands. This impudent girl asked for it. Now she can't escape. This idiot will lose both his hands. So this scoundrel has run into serious trouble. She is from a noble family, it is clear to this ragamuffin. Here the crowd of onlookers suddenly fell silent and parted, and the main character walked through it. There was steel in the voice of the great beast, and he quickly released the girl. And who is this? Karina immediately squealed. Let someone else help, finally. Here the emerald eyes froze in surprise and delight. This young man is incredibly handsome. He has scarlet eyes and dark hair. Karina couldn't move from the spot from shock. Why, this scum is still here. Yes, this impudent girl started it herself. She swears worse than any local drunkard. And the young man just wanted to offer her to have coffee with him. If the lady said no, it meant no. Oh well, the guy doesn't like pompous and empty bitches like her anyway. The cowardly brat immediately started running to the ringing laughter of the crowd. What a humiliation. And so the main characters met for the first time. Elon saved Karina just like in the original plot of the novel. The young lady is fine. Thanks to this incredible young man, she is perfectly fine. How wonderful he is. And at that moment, the main character felt the gears of fate begin to move. Right now, her betrothed was standing in front of Karina. It was him that Lorena was talking about. She will start a new life, in which a new love awaits her, predetermined by fate itself or by the author of the novel. Her love was a dark-haired man, and it was definitely not the vile Xavier, it was him. It was to this moment that fate had led her, and the girl felt as if she had finally found her place. And what is the main character going to say now? What will be his first words to her? It is a great honor for Duke Clavin to save such a beautiful lady. It will probably be like that. Karina is irresistible, and after that, this young man will want to walk her home. And then the main character will have to kiss her, because he is unable to contain his feelings for her. Even though she fell for another man, giving up her innocence, she won't let this beautiful young man go? Well, that's wonderful. Then the main character went, wait, how did he go? He was struck by the beauty of the main character. He just took it and left. And didn't a spark just fly between the young people? Where did he rush off to? And what about a happy life for Karina? Stop. Let the young man finally stop. However, the main character seemed not to hear the orders of the main character. Elon continued to walk towards her. There was only room in his head and heart for one girl, and her name was Lorena. Meanwhile, Alicia's ears began to itch. Apparently, Bernard remembers her with an unkind word for her escape and the potion. Duchess Uther's garden is so big and beautiful. Mrs. Morelia looks after it personally. Does Mother really do everything here herself? That's right, this place is considered a symbol of love. Duke Uther planted a garden especially for his wife a few years ago. Isn't that romantic? Their relationship is really almost perfect. The music hall is that way. The Duchess spends a lot of time there. The mistress of the estate sat at the table, surrounded by majestic and silent statues. Duchess Morelia sank into deep thought and sighed heavily. Lori will wait for my lady here. Some mother is gloomy today. Maybe something happened. The deafening silence was broken by Alicia's voice, asking why the Duchess wanted to see her. Finally, the daughter deigned to visit her mother. The Duchess had been waiting for her there for a long time. Why is Alicia sitting so far from her mother? Let her take a chair and sit next to her. Apparently, the conversation will again be about Alicia's renunciation of the temple. Nothing else worries her so much. Morelia wanted to say that the Empress really wants to meet her daughter. What kind of news is this, and why does it cause such emotions in the Duchess? If she lacks manners, she can forget about making a good impression. Alicia doesn't want to disgrace the family, and the girl has practically given up the ghost from the etiquette lessons. She can't take it anymore. And this damn corset, it was so tight, it was simply impossible to breathe. It had to be buried in the garden. Why torture women like that? Maybe he should go into politics and fight for their rights in a short story. It is hard for Mother to say this, but apparently this is fate, and there is no way to avoid it. And what is the Duchess talking about now? Did she really say it out loud? She was just thinking about nothing. The Empress sent a letter of invitation. She asks for a visit in 5 days. Why such a rush? In just 5 days you can't turn a poodle into a noble racehorse. Mother assumes that Her Majesty learned that Alicia was no longer in Hadushi, and she liked her very much. Well, judging by the words of the Duchess, the girl has nothing to fear. It turns out that this is quite good news. But in that case, why is Morelia so worried? She just looks so pale. What is this? Alicia didn't imagine it now. The Empress wants to make Alicia the crown princess. She got into trouble again. She didn't even leave this damn estate. Nasty Xavier is now with the princess. What about Karina then? What is going on? And any mother would be happy with such news. Something is clearly wrong here. Alicia is unsure if she is fit to be the crown princess and a member of the imperial family. Mother is apparently more concerned about Hadusha's excommunication from the temple. The Duchess is simply worried about her. Usually, aristocrats never refuse such marriage proposals. However, this does not apply to Duchess Uther. She will not sacrifice her daughter for the sake of politics. Such a life is a joy for those who want it. Otherwise, the palace will turn into a cage. The most important thing for the mother is what Alicia herself wants. If she is really ready for this, then they will discuss it with the father. Apparently, Alicia has absolutely no understanding of what it means to be the wife of an aristocrat. And Morelia is actually a sensitive woman who cares about her daughter's happiness. The girl absolutely does not want to become a crown princess and marry Xavier, and in general, she has lost her memory. If there is so much she wants to know, she will start with this, and later she will understand what she wants from life. Mother is very worried about Alicia being excommunicated from the temple, but she will definitely find her way. The girl believes in herself and in her choice, and she knows that she will find the right path, and her mother should know this. Alicia squeezed Duchess Uther's hands warmly. She had nothing to worry about. The mother is very grateful to her girl for such words of support. Her heart became warmer. However, the Duchess is still worried because they need to find a suitable dress. Alicia didn't think about this at all. The last time Elon bought her dresses, then that worm Xavier appeared. You can't enter the imperial palace in simple clothes, and you can't find anything suitable in 5 days. It usually takes at least several weeks to sew a suitable outfit. So that's how it is. There's no need to worry so much about it. Alicia has a great idea. Everything will be fine, she promises. The next day, the main character went to the only boutique of ladies' dresses in the capital. So this is what he looks like. Welcome. Emily is glad to welcome His Majesty to her boutique. A place like this wouldn't allow commoners or maids, which is why Lorena felt uncomfortable here. It is a great honor for the shopkeeper to welcome his lordship here again. Elon came to find out what happened to his order. The order was cancelled and the refund had already been calculated. That is, how was it cancelled? When and by whom was the order for sewing dresses for Lorena cancelled? Elon did not do it. The refund amount is already prepared, but Duke Clavan did not request any refund. This is a mistake. 10 days ago, Miss Lorena visited them and personally cancelled the order and ordered the return to be sent to the Duke's estate. But 10 days ago, Lorena was still living in Elon's estate, and yet she returned here and cancelled the order. Perhaps the reason is that Lorena decided that Elon would ask her for something in return. Elon just wanted to give her a gift. Did he really burden her that much? The Duke would like to take it back. The main character thought that when his vision returned, his life would improve, but he only felt emptiness. Without her, nothing brings him joy. If only Elon knew that by restoring his sight, he would lose Lorena. Now his world seems to be balancing on the edge. Duke Clavin will not take back the return. As his lordship wishes, then the boutique owner will wait for his man in her salon. Bon voyage to his lordship. This is all some kind of illogical nonsense. The inability to see and hear her is simply torture. Elon refuses to accept the new conditions of his life. As soon as the great warrior left the lady's boutique, the owner sighed heavily and clutched her chest. She has difficulty breathing. What's the matter? Should I bring the lady some cold water or call a doctor? Let the assistant simply bring Lady Emily a glass of cold water, as ma'am pleases. The girl will be back in a moment. The lady will be able to wait for her here all alone. Everything is fine. Let her go. Emily almost told the beast everything. Those scarlet eyes are so oppressive, they seem to see right through you. This is what the power of the god odor means. You only have to feel the gaze of these eyes once, and you will immediately understand its unimaginable power. Emily really hopes that she managed not to give away the real version. She just felt sorry for that mother and daughter. And the Grand Duke arrived a couple of hours after them, which means Lorena is the missing Lady Alicia. And all this time, the holy servant of the temple worked as a simple servant in Clavin's estate. Well. This is all very unexpected. The Duchess understands this, but she has one request for Miss Emily. Duchess Uther will buy all the things that Milord Elon ordered. He should be told that Lorena herself cancelled the order. Just a couple of days ago, but it could seriously damage the reputation of Madame Emily's salon. The request is not simple, but Emily, as a woman, must understand that the young lady lived with a single gentleman before her debut. In addition to this, Alicia was excommunicated from the temple, and if her reputation were to suffer, her position in society would be dire. Therefore, Duchess Uther begs Miss Emily to help them with their daughter. She will pay compensation. Duchess Uther herself asks the girl for something similar. She simply cannot refuse her. And what a look Miss Alicia has, those big and sad violet eyes. You just want to pity the poor thing. In any case, Emily's salon will not suffer losses, and at the same time will strengthen relations with the Uther family. Emily agrees to help the ladies of the Uther house, but the boutique owner has one condition, and what is it? When young Lady Alicia gets married, she will order dresses for the wedding ceremony from Emily. Well, of course, if the boutique owner wants, they are even ready to draw up a corresponding receipt. There is a pre-order form here. Let the noble ladies fill it out. A few minutes later, the boutique owner held a written document in her hands, according to which she had purchased a wedding dress. Emily thought she had been too hasty in making her condition, but everything worked out for the best. And to come up with a dress for the wedding celebration of such a beautiful lady is a chance to show off your design skills. The lady is so pleased. Apparently she received a large order to come up with something for Emily. The Imperial Palace, the private quarters of Her Majesty, the Empress. And what was the Crown Prince doing that was so important? Xavier has had a lot of urgent matters lately. Seraphina Constance, the son, did not want to come even at the request of the mother. It was like a knife to the heart. Why did the Empress call Xavier? They need to discuss something important. Let the Crown Prince sit down. So the heir to the throne has a bad reputation. He is not seen as a good ruler. It is high time for him to find a good wife. Xavier shook his head. He was still young. He had no reason to burden himself with the bonds of marriage. Xavier needs an heir. How can the future ruler be so careless? He is not distinguished by anything outstanding. Didn't he like Karina Harrington? She even spent the night in the Crystal Palace. Stop spying on your son. The Harringtons are rich, but Karina herself lacks the elegance of a crown princess. Better this Karina than the descendants of ancient families. The new nobility, although with difficulty, favors the crown prince. What a shame. As the next emperor, the son is obliged to win the favor of the old aristocracy and not just go with the flow. No matter how much wealth the new nobility accumulates, they do not have even half the territories of the old aristocrats. But won't this question resolve itself after the coronation? Xavier is hopelessly stupid. It is not surprising that the gods did not bless him. He is the complete opposite of a true descendant of Odor. He knows Alicia Uther, that candidate for the next archbishop, doesn't he? That's right, Miss Alicia was excommunicated from the temple and returned back to her home, which the Empress knows for sure. She was separated from Kadusha. All this time she was hiding because of a terrible illness. She even lost her memory. So, Alicia lost her memory. Well, yes, but at least the girl is absolutely healthy now. This is simply wonderful news. Alicia Uther has lost her memory. Alicia Uther, a girl of incredible beauty and strength, she is like a clone of Elon Clavin, only female. Silver hair, violet eyes, ivory skin, she looked like she stepped out of an artist's canvas. When the crown prince first saw the priestess, he was immediately speechless. The image of this fantastic girl while reading the prayer captivated his mind. The temple where the priests live is a very closed area, and a casual passerby cannot get in there. Therefore, Xavier could only observe Alicia from afar without being able to touch her. Then, in the imperial palace, everyone was discussing the incredible beauty from the Uther family. The maid said that Miss Alicia would be going to Guerreau's for the weekend. This was a chance for the villain. All the priests are sent there for training, and very soon a new path will await Alicia. Lady Uther will spend several years there. It is a pity that the Empire will not see her beautiful face for so long. Everyone really dotes on her. She also has a very kind heart and a pure soul. She is like a ray of sunshine. Here, the conversation between the two maids was interrupted by the voice of the heir to the throne. Everything said earlier is true. And no matter how long His Highness the Prince stood here, the maids did not notice him at all. After all, we were talking about the next High Priestess. Alicia Uther is going to leave for Guerreau's. Everything is exactly so. The exact date of her departure is still unknown to anyone, but they say that it will happen any day now. On this trip, the bastard saw the long-awaited opportunity to take possession of a fantastic beauty. The villain hired assassins and ordered them to kill absolutely every single one of the escorts, and that's how Alicia ended up with him. She was the only girl who didn't fall for the sweet talk and threats to her life. Alicia saw right through his worthlessness. This scum was rejected by the gods because of its insignificance and cowardice. Let the guards go away. Alicia has nowhere to run, she understands the situation she is in, and Xavier will get away with it. He is a prince. Honestly, it would have been better if Alicia had fallen at his feet herself. Xavier didn't like being forced either. He had wanted her for so long. Even when Alicia was angry or scared, she was still the most beautiful in the world. The girl growled through her teeth that the Temple of Hadushi would not forgive such a thing even to a prince. She had taken a vow to serve the gods. The vile prince grabbed the priestess by her hair, those white bleached locks. The future ruler was always irritated by this color. Xavier cut Alicia's hair with his sword. Without her bleached ends, Alicia no longer looks like a Hadusha temple attendant. Xavier is after all the heir of Odor. Does she really want to anger the gods? He is just dirt for both gods and people. If Alicia is a good girl, she won't be in pain. There are only them here, and no one will help her. This scum actually believes that at least someone will take his side if they learn about his disgusting and rotten nature. Even his own mother would throw him in prison or send him to execution. No one ever liked this degenerate. To hell with the knife threats. Alicia is just a weakling. Let her stop shaking. It will be over soon. This envious and insignificant little rat had gone crazy. Alicia pushed him away from her with all her strength. After which the priestess rushed for a knife. Such trash should not live. Where did this prey rush to? She will never escape. Xavier is much stronger than her. The bastard reached out to the girl with his hand, but was immediately rebuffed with a knife. Alicia wounded him and left a scar on his neck. How dare she attack the future ruler? No one has ever treated him like that. Let him get used to it. Alicia kicked the vile abomination in the solar plexus and ran away. So the girl who was supposed to die in the raging waters still survived and returned home. And she also lost her memory. This is just a gift of fate that needs to be used. The scar on her neck immediately began to ache. Xavier will marry this girl and ruin her life, but she will still belong to him. It was mealtime in the Imperial Palace. The son of the Empire, the Empress and the main character sat down at the table. Marcus Oder Constans, ruler of the Empire, why didn't he return to the palace earlier? This is a real miracle. The light could have damaged the eyes. And why was Marcus the last to be told about his beloved nephew? The most important thing is that his boy can see again. And by the way, where did that damn Xavier go? He has some sudden business. What else? His useless offspring only knows how to drink and corrupt noble girls. Mother Xaviera immediately blushed, and this behavior of the future ruler of Constance suits her. The greatest guardian of the empire returned to the ranks. They paid so little attention to his military exploits. Let the past remain in the past. Let Elon ask the emperor for anything. His uncle will reward him generously. In honor of Elon's recovery, the Empire will hold a feast. This is the most joyful event. It needs to be celebrated. In that case, Duke Klavan asks his uncle for permission to marry whatever. That is, as this wedding is, the Empress knows that since his return, Elon has never left his estate. And at the same time, the only descendant of Odor wants to say that he has found a candidate for his wife. This is not at all the right time. Xavier's position was always precarious and undesirable. Let His Majesty promise the Duke that he will not be against whoever Elona's chosen one may be. Duke Clavin also asks to issue an official decree, anything for the sake of his nephew, he knows. The Emperor broke into a smile. He was so happy about Elon's recovery, but the decree was not a quick matter. Elona's chosen one is an escaped slave from a neighboring country or something. Why such conditions, and even in an official form? However, if the girl turns out to be a commoner, it will only play into the hands of the Empress's son. It was her son who was supposed to inherit the Scarlet Eyes, but Xavier was born defective and pathetic, but he will still be emperor. The Empress was happy when Elon lost his sight, which put her position and her heir at risk. The Emperor's dear nephew is so impatient to get married. What is His Highness waiting for? Let him issue a decree quickly. The son of the Empire hasn't even had time to have lunch yet, and everyone is already demanding documents from him. His Highness quickly issued a new decree regarding the marriage of the best warrior of the Empire. It was quick and easy, and this paper is Elon's only chance to find Lorena. No reward can compare to the paper that will allow him and Lorena to marry. It is the most precious gift. Bernard now spends his days running the affairs of the Clavin family estate, and the main character, together with Cedric, went around all the local guilds of the capital, but did not find a trace of Lorena. You can't just run around and ask questions. It would jeopardize the girl's reputation, but something here is bothering Elon. Is it possible that all this time the young man was looking for his love in the wrong place? The main character was immersed in his thoughts about Lauren while she was very close. Alicia's heart immediately sank at the sight of him. It was Elon. How her soul yearned for him. However, the main character does not know what she looks like, so Elon does not even recognize the one who has been there all this time. The main character walked past his beloved without even paying attention to her. The girl dreamed so much of seeing him again. She replayed their meeting in her head 1,000,000 times, but suddenly she felt so bitter. She wanted to scream that she was that girl, but that probably didn't mean anything to Elon. The most beautiful young man of all was healthy again. How she wanted to see it with her own eyes. All this time, Lorena dreamed only of Elon opening his eyes and being able to see this world again. He could be happy again because he deserves it more than anyone else in this world. The girl can hardly hold back her tears. Who is taking care of him now? Who is there every day? Perhaps Bernard is helping his lord choose clothes, or they have hired a new maid. Although, on the other hand, a great warrior has always been independent, and he probably chooses his clothes without assistance. This is the very future she prayed for 1,000 times, but what's wrong with her feelings? The realization that Elon no longer needs Lauren tears her soul apart. It gives off a dull ache in her chest. The novella system corrects those who complicate the life of the main character, which means she is now Alicia and has found her place. Elon restored her sight. Did this world itself send her to where she belongs, and she shouldn't be next to Elon? He doesn't need Lorena anymore. The main character is not for her. She is only a secondary guest here. Why is the daughter frozen there? Is she really afraid of the audience with the Empress and doesn't want to go? Nothing special. It's just that the girl's new shoes were rubbing her feet terribly, so she stopped to rest. The girl ran up to her mother as if nothing had happened. Her Highness couldn't be kept waiting. The maid leads the ladies of the Uther family to the private chambers of Her Grace, but for some reason Elon stops. The main character was unable to take the next step forward. He froze in place and began to look after Alicia. The Emperor is glad to hear that the daughter of Duke and Duchess Uther has improved her health. Let the ladies sit down quickly, for it is indeed true that Lady Alicia has lost her memory. The Empress was always present at her prayers, sometimes waiting for hours to meet her. Doesn't young Alicia remember anything like that? She's sorry to upset the Empress, but no. To be honest, her ladyship had no idea that losing her memories could be such a serious problem. The Duchess supported her daughter. Alicia doesn't even remember the rules of etiquette. She had to be taught again. The Empress reproached Alicia for her posture in vain. She simply does not remember, although this is not a reason to give leniency. Duchess Uther is grateful to God that her girl is alive and well. And how are things going with the preparations for the debut ball? There were reasons to postpone Alicia's debut, but it will take place this year. And what will the Duchess say if Alicia's debut takes place at a ball in the Imperial Palace next week? Morelia is grateful for such care, but there is too little time left. They won't make it in time. Lady Karina Harrington also plans to make her debut on the same day. Her Majesty has given her permission. Both ladies are making their debut balls late, so it would be better to have Alicia perform on the same day. Duchess Uther is grateful to Her Majesty for her favor. Since all matters had already been decided for today, the Emperor would be glad of their next meeting. The ladies bowed politely. Alicia is so ashamed. She talked such nonsense. Everyone would get nervous in such a situation. She has nothing to apologize for. The maid stopped the ladies. The Empress has a separate conversation with Duchess Uther. And a place for Miss Alicia to rest has already been prepared in the summer garden. The maid will take the lady there. Well, it was strange and scary, but Alicia did it. What a beautiful garden in the Imperial Palace. However, the garden at Elon Claven's estate is still much more beautiful and desirable for the girl. Today, their long-awaited meeting took place. How I wanted to touch him, to talk. Wait, why does she think about the main character all the time? These thoughts are driving her crazy. And what should she do now with these uncontrollable feelings? He doesn't need Lorena anymore. Here, the girl did not notice a stone under her feet and tripped over it, the hem of her dress getting tangled in her legs. Alicia almost fell, but then a strong and painfully familiar hand intercepted her. The lady was fine. It was Elon. My heart ached treacherously to feel his touch again, to be so close to him again. Only now can the most beautiful young man see her, and she sees her beautiful scarlet eyes. The girl always thought that his ruby eyes' odor would frighten her when the young man regained his sight. But nothing like that happened. His eyes are beautiful, like everything else about Elon. The girl almost called her savior by name and immediately covered her mouth with her hand. She was very grateful for the help. The main character bowed politely to Lady Uther. And why does Elon continue to hold the girl by the waist? Alicia is completely fine. If someone notices such closeness between them now, there will be trouble. Elon doesn't think so. Curious onlookers will only be able to envy them. Why? It was a joke. Duke Claven said it to make the lady smile, but the miss is not smiling. So what is the name of the young guest? Damn it, I'll have to say the name of the owner of this body. Of course, she can say that her name is Laura, she is from another world, and until recently, she was courting him under the name of Lorena. Then she will be taken to the hospital immediately. The girl's name is Alicia Uther. She gracefully bowed in a curtsy. They have not met yet. Why was she so awkward? She wanted to fall through the ground, and her bow was terribly awkward. And in general, how does she look now? What's wrong with her hair, and her dress isn't wrinkled? The young man seemed to be tasting her name. Alicia Uther means that it is with Elon, and how does the girl know that he is a duke? So, the girl is a good girl. What should I tell her now? Well, she just heard rumors about the duke's long-awaited healing. So Alicia immediately thought that this was the same duke in front of her, so rumors, well, yes. The girl has a strange premonition. It's as if Elon sees right through her. Here the main character lowered his face right in front of Alicia's face and looked closely to see if she had been found out. A deafening silence hangs over the young people. Elon acts like a bloodhound. This wait is just excruciating. Maybe I should just give in and say that she is that very Lorena. How awkward and exciting it all is. She is not ready to indulge her heart with fantasies of their intimacy again. Moreover, the Duchess convinced her daughter that the fall of her honor would be a serious blow not only for her. It would be a shame for their family. No one should know that Alicia worked as a servant in the house of Duke Claven. Rumors have nothing to do with the truth. Only intrigue is important. It can destroy their family. However, in spite of everything, the girl really wanted to see the healthy eyes of the main character. And just as she was thinking about it, Elon was already standing right in front of her. She had to be careful what she wished for. Lorena can hardly contain her emotions. She so wants to know how he feels. About what worries him now, whether everything is okay with him, whether the young man is finally happy. But Mother would have turned pale with horror if she had seen their conversation. It was time for Alicia to return. The consequences of such meetings are unpredictable. It is better to avoid them. The heart breaks into pieces. And isn't such a random encounter fateful? Elon offers them some tea. What came over the Duke? The young man really wants to have tea with Alicia. She would have given everything for the time spent with him, but why would Elon need it? He never drank tea with ladies, according to Bernard. And then suddenly he proposes a tea audience with the first person he meets, and the lady is fine. She looks scared. Yes, everything is fine. It's just that a cold wind blew sharply, in which case there is one place here. The girl invited Duke Claven to sit at a table in the summer garden. Wait a minute, why are there already 2 cups on the table when the place was only prepared for Alicia? So said the Empress's maid. Then what is the second cup here? Surely the second cup is for Duchess Uther. Stop making things up. There are already 3 types of tea. Ginger tea with honey, tart black tea, and dried orange tea with a special aroma. Damn it, what the hell is Alicia doing? She started explaining everything like in the good old days. A warm smile appeared on the protagonist's face. Why did the lady fall silent? Let her continue. Enough talk. It's just that Alicia is a huge fan of tea. She'd rather pour a cup for the Duke. Be careful, fresh tea is very hot, the taste should be very rich and spicy. How interesting, Elon never told the lady that he drank orange tea as she found out, because the young man doesn't like tart and sweet tastes, so she chose the orange flavor. She knows everything about Elon's preferences, so she needs to lie urgently. Orange matches the color of his eyes. What she brings is like a rainbow, with red followed by orange. So Alicia thought that orange would go well with his beautiful scarlet eyes, and she was right. It's crazy, it's so embarrassing, I wish I could just go out the window right now, I need to smile and wave. The protagonist finished his tea and thanked Lady Uther for her kindness. Duke Claven has one question for Milady, of course, and they have never met before. The ruby eyes instantly became serious and focused, as if they were waiting for an answer so badly. The girl raised her gaze to the most beautiful young man. The truth would only harm everyone. Alicia sighed heavily. This was their first meeting with his lordship. The main character shook his head in disappointment and thanked the girl for the delicious tea. Lady Alicia has excellent skills. Duke Clavan was pleased to meet her, and the feeling is mutual. The protagonist will be glad to meet Miss Uther again. She didn't hear right. Alicia is very glad that her modest skills were liked by the main character. Have a nice evening. Then, from behind the trees, a crunch of a branch was heard. The secret villain of the novella had been watching them in the shadows all this time. And again, this damned descendant of God, how dare Elon approach Xavier's prey? It's his property. Xavier always wanted what he couldn't have, and he always got it through dirty and immoral means. So the Empress had kept Duchess Uther in her room for quite a long time. Even her hopeless son should have had enough time to spin Alicia's nonsense. Young and impressionable girls now consider every meeting to be fateful, so Xavier has already turned her head. Xavier is not such a bad young man. Because of his handsome appearance, dirty rumors about his adventures began to spread. Nothing more. Well, she is a mother. That's why she thinks Xavier is handsome, and the rumors are based on his rotten nature. The maid lowered her head and reported to Her Majesty that her son had not come to the garden where Alicia was. What? I mean, Alicia was there in the garden all this time completely alone. This cretin can at least do something normally. Miss Uther's loneliness was brightened by the descendant of Odor. Sir Elon accidentally met Alicia, and they drank tea together. The Empress's face immediately changed again. This unbearable boy was ruining all her plans. Alicia should be a shield for her stupid and hopeless son. Xavier is not even close to Elon, as is everyone else in the Empire. So Alicia's choice will be obvious. The Imperial Palace is the territory of Her Highness. How dare this ruby-eyed boy encroach on her political arena? This greatest and wildest beast intends to seduce the Empress's favorite flower, and at the same time, take the spoils from Her Highness's only son. The maid immediately rushed to her mistress. Everything is fine with Her Highness, she looks terrible. The stupid boy, after the most worthy descendant of Odor regained his sight, he completely lost his sight. A manic threat flashed in the eyes of the greedy woman. She would not give up power to anyone. Meanwhile, the main character walked towards the carriage together with his faithful Cedric. How did everything go today for the gentleman? Very productively today. Elon has urgent matters. Duke Claven orders the search for Lorena to be stopped, and all information about Lady Alicia Uther to be gathered. Knights and guilds must do this as quickly and quietly as possible. It will be done. The knight bowed respectfully to his master. He was glad to see Elon in such a mood. The deep night reigned over the empire. The faithful knights of the descendant of Odor coped with their task quickly. On the protagonist's desk, there was already all the information he needed about Alicia Uther. So, according to numerous rumors, Miss Alicia Uther went missing 6 months ago after an attack. Doctors diagnosed the girl with complete memory loss. Alicia was recently expelled from the Hadusha Temple. 2 weeks ago, she fully recovered her health and appeared in her native home. A radiant smile appeared on the main character's face. Everything was definitely coming together. Elon felt it right away. The main character never saw his beloved, but he felt her in his heart, and it did not deceive him. Finally, the young man found that very girl. She has violet eyes and silver hair. To be honest, Elon did not expect to meet her at the Imperial Palace at all. What a twist of fate. The young man didn't want to go to the palace today at all, but he was very grateful that he ended up there. How complicated it all is. Elon shouldn't have existed. Second in line to the throne of the Empire. Second place was his birthright, but a child with the eyes of a god is born only once in a generation, and he must inevitably become an emperor. This rule has been unbreakable for more than 1,000 years. For the first time in the history of the Empire, Constance had a descendant of Odor born in a collateral line. Elon understood from childhood that his existence alone was enough for a new war. For this reason, Elon began to deliberately distance himself from all his cousins and relatives. The main character did not want to become the cause of chaos and cruelty, it was his decision. This is not Elon's fault at all. It is the problem of those who are blinded by traditions and the will of the gods of the empire. Only a true descendant of Oder can become a ruler. This is the law of their state. Xavier is deservedly not worthy of being one. Why did all these people never ask Elon or Xavier what they wanted? The protagonist felt uncomfortable being in the imperial palace and oppressing Xavier, so he went to the front. In war, the position of every soldier is equal. Everyone made their own decisions. Today, Elon returned to the palace only because of the emperor's decree, but fate sent him a gift again. Now the official decree of His Majesty no longer has any significance, but it would still be better to leave it. So Lorena is a liar, red hair, blue eyes, and dark skin like some flag. This is the complete opposite of her real appearance. At first, the main character simply passed by the one he had been so persistently and greedily searching for all his life. But suddenly, Elon and Alicia froze for a moment, back to back. Something was unusual about it. Then Duchess Uther noticed that her daughter had fallen into a stupor and asked the reason for such behavior. Alicia replied that she had simply rubbed her feet on her new shoes and ran to her mother, but her voice was shaking. But this voice was painfully familiar to the protagonist, every note, every timbre, every vibration. Even though its owner looked completely different, Elon immediately recognized the voice that became his guiding star. This voice became the most precious to the young man. Each of his days began and ended with it. The Duke simply couldn't help but recognize Lorena's voice. He missed it more than anything in the world. All this time, the main character wanted to hear only him, and now he couldn't believe his ears. Why did the girl say such strange things? Why did she lie about her appearance? So her real name is Alicia Uther. It sounds very beautiful. A blush appeared on the protagonist's cheeks. Now he knows what she looks like and where to look for her. Bernard knocked on the Duke's door, asking when his lordship would deign to feed his stomach. Today, my lord spent a lot of time in the imperial palace, but usually comes back hungry. And it's time to try the delicious delicacies of the Duchy of Klaven. Bernard worked so hard in the kitchen. Why doesn't the owner share the manager's delight? Let him say goodies first. All this time, Elon forgot to ask Bernard what Lorena looked like, and that was a big mistake. So why are we talking about Lauren again? Didn't Bernard mention luxurious gastronomic delights? She has violet eyes, which are rare to find, silver curls, and a naive and pure smile. Many people showed interest in her, but the lack of identification reduced this attraction. You should have asked the manager about this right away. It would have saved a lot of time. Let Bernard bring Lorena's papers that he received when he hired her. Just a minute. The main character hit the table. Why did she lie to him about everything? After all, Alicia simply had no reason to hide her identity. She seriously thinks that Elon would not recognize her by her voice. She had no bad intentions from the very beginning, although she aroused a lot of suspicion because there were so many questions. Lorena looked after him better than anyone else, and it was she who healed the boy's sight. Although all this is no longer important, after their wedding the young people will have plenty of time to discuss it. Bernard dropped the tray on the floor and stared at his master in shock, wondering why he had opened his mouth. What Sir Elon just said was that his young master was going to get married, and Bernard didn't know anything about it. Why does a young man need a wedding? He just returned to a full life. Who is she? Why is everything so sudden? Elon saw her documents. The manager was gone for only a couple of hours, and the gentleman has already become a suitor. There are still surprises. The main character will go and have dinner, perhaps. And that's all that my lord wants to say. What a ruthless villain. Well, it's simply impossible. Bernard will go crazy. Let my lord start looking for a mental hospital for him. Bernard is trying his best here. It's all so unfair, honestly. The next day, an unwanted guest arrived in the Duchy of Uther, and what is this one doing here? So this is what the secret villain of the novel looks like, the envious Crown Prince Xavier Constance. The Empress reported that the young lady was spending time alone in the garden and asked to keep her company. It was unnecessary. Xavier was a bit busy, so he didn't get a chance to visit Miss yesterday. Alicia must have missed him. There is no need to invent unnecessary things. Everything is fine with Alicia. Such concerns are unnecessary. So the second cup was prepared by the Empress for her son. He has a disgusting aura. By the way, the Crown Prince learned that poor Alicia had lost her memory. That's true, but her health has recovered, which cannot but please. Miss is surprised by the sudden visit of the Crown Prince. The whole point is that her ladyship wants her son and the young lady Uther to get along. In what other sense? Mother wants her favorite fairy from Uther to become the Crown Prince's princess. Sounds disgusting. Ugh, the girl's head was filled with images. Even thinking about something like that is disgusting. Stop, as he said. A favorite fairy of Uther. Quite a few characters appear in the novel Flower of the Blind Beast, starting from the main character with the most important role and ending with the secondary characters who help him. And the symbol of true love is the Duke and Duchess Uther, living in complete harmony, hence the name, the Heavenly Uther. And the little fairy of this paradise is the embodiment of the love of Gillian and Morelia, Alicia Uther. Xavier told Karina that he could never open his heart to anyone. That's what he thought all his life. But why, Karina really needs to know. He dreamed of Alicia, a candidate for princess. She was obsessed with the crown prince. He thought that this was love. But from such love, one can only die. The vile and pathetic Xavier thus evoked pity in the main character. Karina sympathized with him. The main character mistakenly believed that this worm was a noble, courageous, and honest hero. At that moment, the girl made a decision for herself and agreed. Then the scoundrel beamed with happiness. According to the original storyline, while Elon, Karina, and Xavier were stewing in their triangle, Alicia had already died. And in one of the scenes of the novel, the maid hinted that it was Crown Prince Xavier who killed Lady Alicia. The poor girl spent a few nights with him, but when Alicia became pregnant by Xavier, he rejected her. But Lady Alicia was only a candidate for princess. Why would she spend nights with the heir to the throne? The maid Laurie looked at Karina with undisguised reproach. When she appeared, everything went wrong. Alicia was obsessed with the crown prince. It's a lie, it was the other way around. Xavier is a cruel bastard. And someday Miss Karina will suffer the fate of poor Lady Alicia. She will remember Laurie's words. What was this flashback that told the girl where this scene came from? It was as if the words of this scoundrel had triggered some kind of mechanism, and the contents of the novel began to emerge in her head. However, the girl definitely didn't read anything like that. Wait a minute, that means the role of Alicia. Oh no. Why is Miss Uther looking at the crown prince so strangely? She just hasn't been feeling well this morning. Holy shit. Her character's killer is sitting in front of her right now, and she can't get pregnant from him. Of course, Alicia knew that this little rat was a real brat, but she didn't expect that he was so dangerous. The girl's name is Audrey. She is the companion of Lady Alicia. The young lady is not feeling well today. It's all clear. He sees the future emperor all the same, too, suddenly. Oh well, that's not the point at all, damn butcher. Next time the crown prince will order a carriage, and they will be able to stroll through the imperial garden. You can't let him know that Alicia knows everything. You need to behave naturally and naively. Miss Alicia will be only too glad to meet you again. It is such an honor for her. Have a nice day. As soon as the hereditary killer disappeared from sight, the girl immediately collapsed to the ground, exhausted. Audrey immediately ran to the young lady. What happened to Miss Uther? Does she need a doctor or help? No need for anything like that. It was just sunstroke, after which Alicia lost consciousness. Audrey started screaming and calling for help. Lady Alicia lost consciousness. Bring a doctor here quickly. Meanwhile, the crown prince reached his carriage. His Highness was in a good mood. The heir to the throne even hums something, which is good news. The future ruler is in a really good mood. Today, the crown prince brings with him a lot of good news. So let the coachman hurry to the imperial palace. It will be done. Well, what a pleasant and convenient situation. This girl really lost her memory. This means that Xavier will be able to play with her as much as he wants. She has no idea about the danger. The expression on his face, the naive eyes in which there was not a shadow of doubt, Alicia does not see him as her killer at all. Even more than that, this stupid mouse enjoys the company of the one who attacked her with a knife just recently. This means that the rumors are really true. It's impossible to fake something like this. To be honest, Xavier thought it was all gossip, but Alicia's reaction says otherwise. His prey truly remembers nothing of the day he killed her people in front of her and then almost took advantage of her. Every gesture of the girl, her look, her action does not resemble acting. No man could remain calm next to someone who wanted to harm him, except for the great Elon. Well, who will say after this that the gods do not favor the crown prince? His failures and crimes are simply erased. The crown prince has a second chance, and he will take full advantage of it. In this damn kingdom, everyone thinks that Xavier is scum and a disgrace to the family, but he can do whatever he wants with impunity. Xavier can't wait to make Alicia his weak-willed slave. She won't run away anywhere anymore. His desires will become her desires. The mouse will simply have no other choice. This time, Xavier will take the girl differently so as not to put his identity at risk anymore, so that this silly girl couldn't do any more stupid things and reveal his true, vile insides to the Empire. 3 days later, the day of the debut ball at the Imperial Palace arrived. "How is your daughter feeling? Alicia is definitely fine and ready for today's public attention. The sweet little girl was sick for 3 whole days after she fainted. Let her tell me right away if she feels bad." Their beloved girl really shouldn't overexert herself. Her health is everyone's top priority. Parents have nothing to worry about. Her health has fully recovered and she is ready for her debut. The doctor immediately said that the probable cause of fainting was severe emotional shock. Miss Alicia must have seen something terrible. She was very scared. No, the lady just fainted during tea. This is very unusual. Something must have shaken the girl at that moment. She needs more rest. And we can't allow any stress. Nothing happened that could make Alicia so scared, right? But there is a feeling that Alicia's body is trying to warn her, as if something still remains unsolved and threatens her. The main characters have already deviated from the original plot. They never met. Karina fell in love with the Crown Prince. Moreover, Alicia cured the protagonist's eyes herself, while Karina should have done it. And according to the plot, Alicia's tragic and sudden death was intended to make Karina choose Elon. There's no love triangle now, so Alicia won't die. You just have to avoid that damn Xavier. Alicia won't die in terrible agony. Everything is fine. She needs to pull herself together, otherwise she will disgrace her family. It seems that this idea was extremely unsuccessful. Alicia's parents are truly wonderful. The best. She doesn't want to let them down, let alone upset them. Their baby doesn't look well. Alicia turned pale. And the dress fits my daughter too loosely. It would be better for Alicia to stay at home and get some good rest. How could one refuse an opportunity given by the Empress herself? It is such an honor for their family. Besides, if Alicia's thinness draws attention to the healthy Karina, that will also be beneficial. Everything will be fine. After all, the main heroine of today's ball in the Imperial Palace is still not Alicia, but Karina Harrington, they are finally here. The girl's eyes were immediately struck by the magnificence of the Imperial Palace. Everything here really was like a fairy tale. It's so beautiful here. All the invited guests react to the palace in an ordinary way, but Alicia is completely delighted. And this is after the difficult work of a maid in the main character's estate. This is a contrast to the storyline. This is a completely different world. Everyone greet His Majesty, the son of the Empire. All the guests have made the long journey to the palace today for the solemn occasion. The ladies of the court immediately began to whisper as soon as they saw the Crown Prince, saying that he did not commission a single skirt. Well, the guy has quite a reputation. Today's festive ball is being held in honor of a special occasion. Important people have gathered here today to celebrate a new stage in the lives of 2 young ladies. As soon as the Crown Prince glanced at the girl, everything immediately went dark in her eyes. She stopped hearing people. Why does this character affect Alicia so much? What is going on? She began to worry a lot, and it cannot be hidden. There was obvious fear in her violet eyes. She couldn't show her worries to anyone. What should she do? This was a bad idea. It wouldn't work. Avoiding the Crown Prince wouldn't work. She needed to breathe deeply and catch her breath. The heroine's body began to tremble treacherously. Her hands began to shake. But what was going on? She couldn't take control of her mind. Nothing bad has happened yet. 2 young ladies are making their debut today. The guests should greet them. Lady Alicia of the Uther family. There is no need to introduce this girl to the Empire. All the inhabitants know her. And of course, young Miss Karina from the Harrington family, whose person is not yet familiar to society. The Empress asks the court guests to treat the debutantes well, even though they entered high society late. And of course, it's time for the first dance. Who will the young ladies choose? This is such an important and touching moment. The main character glared at the heir to the throne and began to try to kill him with his gaze, but it turned out awkwardly. The Crown Prince decided to respond to Karina's impudence and also began to glare at her, wondering what he was doing. The stupid brat should take the chance now and ask Alicia to dance. He's playing a staring contest. Here, the strong and strong-willed voice of the main character was heard. Duke Claven will dance the first dance with Miss Alicia Uther. Who is this handsome man? Can a young man give such a beautiful... His eyes are ruby color. It can't be. It was truly impossible to look away from the main character. He immediately captivated and got into the very soul. The majestic posture, the direct and honest look, the noble features of the face were as if painted by a great artist. Dark hair, ruby eyes, ivory skin. This coat suits the Duke so well. He is simply incomparable. No, everything should be different. What is the Grand Duke doing here, and shouldn't Ilona be here? The Empress forgot that His Majesty held this entire formal reception in honor of Elon Claven. She did not mean that. The main character smiled. He hadn't been present at the festivities for a long time. This was also his first debut in some sense. Ruby Eyes immediately moved to Alicia. He didn't expect that he would like it here so much, what? The Empress choked. The first dance was promised to her son. Why was Xavier even standing there on the sidelines? His girl was being taken away. The protagonist ignored the Empress and extended his hand to Alicia, who willingly placed hers in his palm. Let's go. Just one word. But it drove away all fear from Alicia. Was this not a dream? Would she really be at the ball with him? Why did the hero choose Alicia? And why does he even look at her like that? Her heart will stop beating her ribs. Alicia already knows what it wants to say. The crowd of guests immediately began to whisper, "Only the Grand Duke does not need permission." It seems that the girl's hasty consent caused a flurry of questions, and she still held back her emotions. That's definitely possible. She slept during the last etiquette lesson, although what difference does it make? Now they seem to be alone in the whole world. So they should start their first dance and open the gala ball. Alicia carefully put her hand in. To dance the first dance in front of a stunned crowd at the Imperial Palace? What a dream. The girl is so grateful to the author of the novel. At this moment, she is so happy that she is ready to fly from the extravaganza of emotions. Well, there is one significant problem. Alicia is dancing for the first time in her life today, and it seems like everyone can already see it. So in fact, the Grand Duke is her first partner. The main character froze in amazement and stared at Alicia, after which the young man broke into a satisfied smile. Why was he smiling? She felt so awkward. It is a great honor for the protagonist to become the first partner at the young lady's debut ball. If only this moment would never end. The musicians continued to play. Setting the mood for the hall, the couple was surrounded by distinguished guests, but they did not see anyone. Alicia felt and remembered forever every touch of the main character that happened to her. Was Elon always like this? She felt completely safe around him, as if he was in his place. Elon is so skilled at dancing. Every time Alicia gets off track, he always adjusts to match her. And only thanks to the help and support of a handsome young man does it seem from the outside that Alicia knows how to dance. The music ended. It's a pity. Dancing with the same partners is forbidden. Elon became her first boyfriend. The girl lowered her hand with difficulty and began to take a step back, but the strong hand did not let her go anywhere. The young debutante is not ready yet. She still needs to rehearse. She gets tangled up in her legs. What is he doing? It's against the rules. You're only supposed to dance twice with your loved one, but Alicia doesn't understand anything. Lady Alicia had already broken the rules when she applied for the dance, so she needn't worry about it any further. But all the invited people around are looking at them, and this will affect the reputation of each of them. This means that the girl doesn't like their dance and Ilona's company, in which case they can stop all of this immediately. Let the Duke just try. How can Alicia not like him? That is, the dance. That is, how can she not want it? Well, she said it all. Her tongue gave it away. The main character really likes Alicia's answer. What the hell just happened? The girl really was flirting with the main character. And yet, Alicia can't take her eyes off the ruby eyes that she's wanted to see for so long, so familiar. She spent half a year in this world as Lorena and was always by his side. He was the only one who needed her. And the girl kept thinking that if she started her own family, the world of the novel would become unstable. But in reality, being the heroine of the novel, she was simply learning to be someone that Alicia herself doesn't even remember. And all this time, the girl felt truly happy only next to the main character. What is the young debutante thinking about? Well, nothing important, which means Duke Claven can already see well. That is, Alicia simply heard that the young man had been ill for a very long time. If it is inconvenient for Elon to answer, then there is no need. Scarlet Eyes looked closely at her partner. This question, she, as always, is worried about the health of the young man. The main character's cheeks immediately turned red. She couldn't stop thinking about him. He was fine now. But his butler raised a great commotion and called all the doctors of the Empire so that the light would not harm Elon's eyes. Bernard locked him in the bedroom for 3 days. Why is Miss laughing? Elon seems like a man who always gets his way. For example, like right now with the second dance, the main character definitely doesn't always get his way. It was simply that Duke Claven was forced to act this way, and not simply obeying Bernard's instructions. And it's all about one girl. The main character has been persistently looking for her for a long time. It's because of her that Bernard got the upper hand over him. She would be very worried if she found out that Elon was not taking care of himself, and Bernard threatened to tell her about it. The girl's cheeks immediately flushed. She was sure that everyone had already forgotten about Lorena, that no one needed her there. But in fact, they were looking for her. Elon was looking for her. Does Lorena really still mean something to him? The musicians stopped playing and put down their instruments, and the second dance came to an end. However, the main character did not leave that very girl for a single step. He was ready to cause a big stir here. And she. Alicia smiled playfully, and she prefers a calm and quiet life, stability and measuredness. Elon doesn't think she knows herself well. If Alicia wanted a quiet life, she would definitely have refused him a second dance. So Miss Uther, who wants a quiet life, will answer, she is ready to dance with Elon further. If Alicia takes the handsome young man's hand now, she will never want to leave this world, but he is worth it. Here the young people were interrupted by the vile voice of the Crown Prince. Xavier ran straight towards them as fast as he could. Lady Alicia must stop. Oh no, not the secret villain. The girl's whole body immediately shakes from him. Xavier won't let them continue their dance in peace. The girl grabbed the main character by the hand and dragged him along with her. Elon stared at Alicia in amazement, and she was the one who loved the quiet and ordinary life. The young man did not expect such courage from Alicia. He thought that she was shy, and the lady brought him here in front of everyone. Alicia was a priestess after all, and how could the Duke know about this? Who doesn't know the priestess from the capital? Her name had already been crossed off the list of temple ministers, so with that girl, Ilona managed to find her. It worked, but only halfway, which is what the main character means. How the young man could find Lorena, that is, her, only halfway, and the very fact that he was looking for her raises many questions. And who is this girl to the Duke? Who is she, since Elon is so diligently looking for her throughout the Empire? This is the same girl, and she will become his future wife. What? They are definitely talking about Lorena. This can't be. The girl hung in silent shock for a few seconds, as if she had been put on pause. But this was indeed news. Well, in that case, let the main character accept congratulations from Lady Uther. Happiness and health to them. Duke Claven was probably shocked that Alicia let him out of the hall. Well, it's time for her to go. The girl started running as fast as she could. Where was Alicia running off to again? No, she was really running in that dress. The heroine ran out onto the balcony and immediately slammed the doors behind her, which she had just heard. Elon really is going to marry her, but there was nothing between them. It's all some kind of nonsense. He didn't say who exactly he was looking for. Maybe he was talking about Karina. He could have met her and fallen in love. But Karina had a crown prince, and why did the Duke want to continue the dance with her? Does he really have feelings? It's so hard to believe, but at the same time I want to believe it. Elon is the most wonderful of them all. He is the one. Alicia has completely stopped understanding what is happening with the storyline in the novel. It is being blown away by a new wave. And here is Lorena. Finally, the main character was able to find her. They need to talk about everything. Well, the only thing missing here now is Karina. It's like she's in a TV series now. Lorena has something to say. Or should I address the girl as Miss Alicia Uther? The main character looks great. Okay. The girl asks Karina for forgiveness for her deception, which means all her words were lies. But why did she do it? Alicia didn't do it on purpose, it's hard to believe, but she lost her memory, lived as Lorena, the image of Karina surfaced. And then the girl decided to meet with Miss Harrington, which means that Alicia didn't even remember her name. Everything is exactly like that. That's why she lived under the name Lorena. She didn't want to offend Karina. It doesn't seem like a lie, but what about the prediction? Is it real? Because Alicia was the strongest priestess. That day she said that Karina was at a crossroads of fate, and one day she would regret choosing the wrong one. In fact, Miss Harrington didn't believe her and fell for Xavier, and then she met him. Who did she meet? The young man saved her at the Cardinal Cafe. It was Duke Elon Clavan. He was present at the ball today. And when Karina saw the Duke, she immediately realized that he was her true destiny. That's why she sought to meet Lorena. Karina wanted to know if fate could give her a second chance. Let Alicia tell her what she needs to do to start over and get her happiness. Mrs. Karina should not worry about anything. Her chosen one will definitely find the right path. What a relief, because this is exactly what the girl wanted to hear, which means a great future awaits her. There is nothing to thank her for. Fate itself leads everyone exactly where they need to be. That's all. Today was a busy and difficult day. Alicia still hasn't fully sorted out her feelings and future intentions. Before her daughter goes to rest, her mother would like to talk to her about something. Alicia is very sorry, but she has no strength left today. They will talk tomorrow. There is no shaking face on her girl. Let her talk to her mother. She will help. No one will help her. The girl went into her chambers and fenced herself off behind the doors. She knew that Elon could not be for her. Alicia collapsed on the floor and began to sob. Her soul was torn apart. She loved him more than anything in the world. She was ready to say goodbye to her world in order to spend her whole life next to him. Tears flowed like a river. She could not stop them in any way. Her heart did not belong to her anymore. She was left in an unfamiliar and alien world, completely alone. Why did Alicia deceive herself? After all, the girl always wished the main character happiness. For this, she was ready to do anything, right? It's good that the main characters met. She spent so much time trying to achieve this fateful meeting, and now she's in pain. It was stupid to even entertain the idea that Elon was looking for Lorena. He was looking for Karina. Who else? This means that the storyline is running its course and all the events in it will inevitably happen. And this means only one thing: Alicia has only one path, and their meeting with Xavier also cannot be accidental. Today the girl enjoyed every moment next to him. It was wonderful. He became her soul. Only next to him did she feel like she was where she was supposed to be, and with the one who was meant for her. When Elon looked at her, she felt pleasant excitement, joy, and peace. The first dance with Elon became the warmest and most precious memory, and he apparently wanted to make Karina jealous. The girl even thought for a moment that the main character recognized her and guessed that she was that very Lorena. His Lorena, because in her heart she so wanted Elon to look for her, not to forget her. So that the main character still needs her presence, her care, and attention. She so wanted to find the meaning of life as Lorena, to be close to Elon, to share this world with him. And how dare she wish such a thing? Alicia didn't even say goodbye to him. She just ran away without a word. So what happened to her daughter yesterday? Duchess Uther was so scared. Alicia can't worry. Her girl should start taking care of herself. It's just that Alicia was too nervous yesterday and forgot about her manners. She's sorry. Why is my daughter's face so blank? Could it all be connected to the excitement before her debut? It didn't go so badly. The maid interrupted the conversation between mother and daughter and announced that Mr. Claven was awaiting an audience with Miss Alicia. What? What? It can't be. Why did the main character come to the Uther's estate? He decided to marry Karina. A few minutes later, a handsome young man was sitting in front of Alicia in the summer garden gazebo. How is Lady Uther? They only saw my lord yesterday at the gala ball, so why did Elon come here at all? The main character looked questioningly at his interlocutor. The young man wanted to drink tea with Alicia. This isn't a tea house, is it? Why is Elon teasing her? He chose Karina himself and decided to have tea with Alicia. She cried all night yesterday and didn't sleep a wink, but he's in a great mood. Elon sees that this is not a tea house. It was in vain that his sight returned to him. In fact, the young man brought something. Lady Alicia will accept this from Duke Claven. The girl's heart immediately skipped a beat. What is this? This is chocolate from the Cardinal Cafe. It was for this that Alicia went on the last day of their meeting before disappearing. The main character brought branded chocolate from a cafe on the main square of the capital, and why does he give it to Alicia? Elon thought that he should please Milady. One girl really loves this sweet. So let Duke Claven give the chocolate to that very lady. Elon is hurting her. She needs to run away from him quickly. To see a loved one and know that he loves another is simply torture. What kind of tea will the Duke drink? The one that Miss Uther chooses for him, that's how it is. What are all the games for, and why is Alicia looking so angrily at the young man? She now assured him of the strongest tea, which he definitely won't like. Let him try to cope with it. The girl scooped up too much tea leaves with her spoon and threw them into Elon's cup, letting the Duke enjoy his tea. His least favorite tea, but healthy, the Duke still wants to continue this tea drinking. The main character stared in shock at the mug of tea offered to him. What was that just now? Why is the great warrior of the Empire frozen? Why isn't he trying his most delicious tea? It's getting cold. Ruby eyes began to carefully study the girl's gestures and facial expressions. There was an oppressive aura coming from Alicia. She was clearly offended and upset about something, but what was the matter? Why is Lady Uther so angry at Duke Claven? Who is angry? She is angry. Nothing of the sort. Steam is coming off her. Duke Clavan would like to know what happened, whether Alicia did not enjoy the dance yesterday. That's how it was, and that's not the point at all. Then what's the problem? Why doesn't the girl explain anything? The problem is that the person dearest to her heart loves another and comes to her for tea. What my lord did wrong, it is important for him to know, nothing special. It is just that Alicia is not feeling well. It is better for her to go. Good luck to Duke Claven. The main character was left completely bewildered and alone. Alicia began to angrily pace back and forth along the corridor of the estate. It was so painful for her to see Elon. But the main character doesn't even suspect this, and he should appear at the most difficult moment. Here, the girl noticed that her mother was watching her with curiosity and that she had been standing there for a long time. And what is Duchess Claven doing here at such a time? Mother would like to know if Sir Claven has left. That's right, Duke Elon just left. That's how it is. And what did he say to her girl? And what was the expression on Mother's face? Nothing special, they just drank tea and talked about idle things. Alicia made no mistakes in etiquette and did not allow herself anything unnecessary, honestly. But that is not the point at all. If my lord didn't tell Alicia anything like that, then that's good. How else can one understand that? Let the daughter go and rest. This woman really loves her daughter, but she is definitely hiding something. Something is constantly bothering her. Something strange is happening to Mother. Duchess Uther waved her hand to her daughter and smiled mysteriously. Why is Morelia even asking Alicia about something like this? It's all strange. Several days passed, the main character continued to come to their house, then asked to show the Uther's paradise. The handsome young man asked to explain what other types of tea there are, but Alicia knew nothing, it was clear to him. And then, out of the blue, Elon decided to give the girl some candy from the candy master. Lori can't just kick Duke Claven out and never let him in again, that's impossible. That's what Alicia was thinking, how annoying it was. The maid might be free for today. Lori giggled quietly. This guy is just driving her crazy. She wanted to be with him more than anything in the world, but she can't. Why does the main character keep coming to the one he doesn't love? Why all this? Why? Alicia needed some free time to think things through, but Elon wouldn't give her a minute. His eyes were already healed, and according to Karina, they had already met, which meant they could fall in love with each other. That's why the young man worries her so much, why he doesn't let her forget about himself and his feelings for him. It's unbearable. Is the storyline inevitably heading towards the very moment when Alicia must die? When the heir to the throne mercilessly takes the life of a former priestess. But if you think about it, there are too many oddities here. The real Alicia was a priestess of the Hadusha temple. And priestesses cannot get married, they serve only the gods. But in the original, she became Xavier's bride, and even became pregnant. There is too much that is unclear. Only one thing is clear: if she is connected to Xavier, she will certainly die according to the plot. And thus the girl will become only a connecting link for the main characters of this novel. Is this really meant to happen, and is there no other way? But if the handsome young man and this Karina fall in love with each other, then Laura will be able to return to her world. That was her goal. You just have to avoid being the victim in a love triangle, because you never know what will happen if she dies in the novel. Whether she will be reborn, return to her world, you just have to wait for the ending and think about it only as a book. Alicia's goal is to survive until the end of the storyline and not to give in to feelings or risk her life. The next morning, the maid announced the arrival of a guest at the Uther estate. Oh well, it seems like Miss Alicia has an idea who this guest is. His name starts with Claw, but no. The lady guessed wrong. A young and beautiful girl is waiting for Alicia, not as beautiful as Milady herself, of course. Miss Karina from the Harrington family arrived at the Uther mansion, but she was the only one missing here. The main character is glad to welcome Lady Uther again. Let Karina sit down. And what brought Lady Karina to the Uther estate this time? They seem to have already discussed everything. Well, the girl just heard that a handsome young man named Elon came here for several days in a row. So the main character thought that Alicia could help her. After all, the girl wants to get closer to Duke Claven so much that they are all making fun of Alicia. Wait a minute. Could it be that the main character himself came to her all this time just to get closer to Karina? Now everything is clear. Elon has no experience in love, so he wanted to get closer to Karina through Alicia. Judging by the heavy expression on Miss Uther's face, Karina's request goes beyond all bounds. Oh, come on, what is she talking about? On the contrary, Alicia would be so happy to help these two. Is it true? That's so strange. The main character was so afraid that Miss Alicia might refuse her. After all, at the debut ball, Karina accused her of cheating, and this could have slightly offended Alicia. This is a normal reaction. She herself was worried that she could disturb Karina with her fragments of memory. In that case, if Miss Uther helps Karina, she will gladly forgive her for lying. Agreed. And can Lady Harrington address Miss Uther by her first name? Of course, the girls must stick together. Well, now Alicia is helping to arrange the personal life of the love of her life, a great start to a new life. Of course, Elon was originally intended to be the main character, but that doesn't make it any easier. And here is the effect of the main character. She gives off a warm aura that makes everyone feel comfortable with Karina. Well, what can you do? Now is just the perfect time to bring these two closer together. There's no point in putting it off. We need to focus on the supporting role and help the main characters reunite. And only then will Alicia be able to see the end of the story, in which case Karina hopes for the girl. If you just give them the opportunity to meet, then everything else should happen by itself. The death of her heroine is just a mechanism that serves to ensure that Karina chooses Ilona over Xavier. Why does Mom look at her daughter so strangely? What did the young miss manage to say to Duchess Morelia? For what reason did Lady Harrington show up at their estate unannounced? She had no reason to do so. What did this girl say to her sweet girl? Why is Mother so worried? Nothing happened. Mother has been watching the behavior of her daughter and Duke Claven for a long time, and now this Karina has rushed here. What does the assistant think about this situation? That Duke Elon is in love with Alicia, and her daughter also loves my lord. Duchess Uther must give in. There is no more worthy and pious suitor for her daughter in the Empire. Madame Morelia wants her daughter to be happy, so everything works out for the best. This cannot be allowed at any cost. Of course, Alicia was a priestess for a long time, but she was already excommunicated from the temple. The assistant didn't hear. The daughter is still young. She will still have a chance. There shouldn't be any love. Alicia is still unwell. It is too early for her to even think about marriage or anyone else. The Duchess should calm down. The lady must understand that since Miss Alicia's debut, there has not been a single marriage proposal. Therefore, Madame Morelia must make the right choice despite her selfish desires. The assistant left Duchess Uther's room. This must not happen, never under any circumstances. Morelia doesn't want Duke Claven to take Alicia. She shouldn't love him, and he shouldn't love her. It's not too late to change everything. There are probably other ways. The Duchess cannot allow this. It's all her fault. These are her sins. The very next day, Alicia organized a meeting between the two main characters of the novel. Lady Uther is pleased to welcome Duke Claven to her estate. Today is such a wonderful day. Alicia would like to introduce him to a certain person. This is Miss Karina of the Harrington family. She is very pleased to meet you. Well, as Lady Harrington already knows, in front of her is that very great warrior of the Empire, Duke Elon Claven. And these two look so good together, like they were meant for each other, don't they? The main character did not stop looking at Elon and admiring him, but the young man did not respond in kind. What is happening now, my lord? Thought that it was Lorena who invited him to the meeting, or rather Alicia. Yes, the main characters are perfect for each other. Who would have doubted it? All she has to do is leave, and they will be together forever. And here is the Uther's maid. Laurie has finally arrived. What does she say? Alicia urgently needs to go to the Duchess. Let the two young people continue to communicate without Alicia. She urgently needs to leave on important business. Well, that's it. Alicia has left. What was that? The main characters looked at the girl with questioning eyes. Laurie did everything naturally, which cannot be said about Alicia. My lady is sure that she really wants this. What is the assistant talking about? Only a blind person would not notice the feelings for Elon in Alicia's eyes. Well, what is Laurie saying? I hope no one hears this nonsense. Nothing of the sort. She is not in love with Duke Claven. But Miss definitely had feelings for the young man, and Alicia doesn't even want to hear about it. These two seemed destined for each other by fate itself. Who was she to interfere and dispute it? An oppressive silence hung between the main characters. Karina had imagined this meeting completely differently. It was she who asked Alicia to help her meet. Duke Claven had previously helped her at the Cardinal Café. Miss Harrington wanted to thank her hero properly, and Lady Uther helped her with it. That's how. Doesn't Sir Claven remember their meeting on the main square when some scoundrel pestered Karina? Elon remembered that he was looking for Lorena everywhere then. The lady should not attach such importance to his actions. But the Duke saved the girl from trouble. Karina is sincerely grateful to him for his help. Therefore, Lady Karina would like to invite her savior to dinner and thank him. Elon refuses. He knew that Lorena does not see him as a man, but still hoped to at least convey his feelings to her. What? Where was Duke Claven going to go? Everything should have gone differently. My lord must visit his mother. Miss Harrington would do better to stay and finish her tea. It's like this. Why is Mr. Elon not smitten with Karina? Why doesn't he show interest? The main character's cheeks immediately turned red. Karina doesn't understand anything. Why Morelia was late? Robin and Aisho are waiting for the woman at the main gate. The ladies should be extremely careful that no one guesses that she is wearing a wig. Duchess Uther will be careful. The woman walked through the dark bowl straight to the main gate. May the blessing of the 5 gods of odor come to the guards. Why the novice is so late and where he comes from. The woman was at the funeral and needed to spend time with her family afterwards and support them. The guards looked at each other and motioned for the novice to go inside. The iron bars rose up, the main gates were opened, everything worked out. Duchess Uther managed to penetrate the territory of the Temple of Hadusha. The woman ran inside and saw other novices. She asks for forgiveness for being late. Mr. Alejandro is currently in night prayer, so he won't be out for another 3 hours. However, Lady Alicia's mother must be ready to leave the temple within this hour. Robin and Aisho led Morelia up the spiral staircase, the path ahead clear. After which the trio approached the shrine of the Hadusha temple. They needed to be extremely careful and quiet. Morelia's daughter should not pay for her mother's sins. She needs to save her. The novices escorted the Duchess to the stand with the magical scripture, after which they stepped aside. Duchess Uther is required to give a code word. The woman touched the glass display case. A book was floating in the air. She knows where they are. This world belongs to the universe of the novel called The Flower of the Blind Beast. The handwritten edition entitled The Flower of the Blind Beast began to shine dazzlingly. I started turning the pages of the novel on my own. Morelia knows where she is. The novices told the woman to hurry. Not all the temple ministers were currently at prayer. The Duchess must find a way. There must be some way out. She must save her daughter. Robin and Aisho led Morelia out of the Hadusha temple through the back door. This carriage was prepared especially for her. The disciples apologize for the lack of a good harvest this year, but they don't have to apologize to Morelia. Most likely, this is a consequence of one of those sins that lie on the soul of Duchess Uther. It is time for her. Robin and Aisho exchanged glances and watched the Duchess's carriage pass. A silhouette, hiding under a cloak, was watching all the events from the shadows. A threatening aura emanated from him. Poor Morelia. She tries so hard, but it will never be like that. She wants it. Never. Sins must be paid for. The Crown Prince's eyes flashed with obsession and menace. Alicia was beautiful even when she was scared to death. It all ended quickly, and if the priestess behaved docilely, she would not suffer so much. The cold tip of the dagger pressed against the girl's skin. She had nowhere to run, no one to call for help. There were only them here. However, the blade of the dagger entered the flesh of its owner. How dare this scoundrel wound the future emperor? And here the priestess is trying to stay on her feet on the bow of the ship in a bloody dress. Alicia will never be able to just run away from him. He will not die, because this is his destiny. Everything is predetermined. Why it is impossible to change your life path. Why and for what it must be doomed. The girl dreamed of only one thing before her death: to escape from her painful life. Alicia was scared. She was suffocating in wild agony, and no one could help her. So she died. The girl's eyes suddenly opened wide. There was still fear and despair in them. Alicia jumped out of bed. It was just a nightmare. She's here, she's alive, everything's fine, she's not in any danger. The heroine's whole body was shaking terribly. Her skin was cold, her gaze was detached. It was definitely just that. It felt like Alicia had actually experienced it all. Is it possible that these are fragments of the memory of the real owner of this body? Could Alicia have left this life out of fear? Could she make such a choice as her character's painful fate? Could Lori enter? The maid carefully poked her head through the door. The thing is that the guests arrived unexpectedly early. What other guests? The maid swallowed nervously. There were 3 of them. They all held high positions in society. Yeah, damn, the author just made a joke. Why did this love triangle suddenly form again? The tea at the Uther estate is so delicious. The Crown Prince could visit this place every day, but no need. Xavier only wanted to talk to Miss Alicia today and didn't expect to see Elon himself and that girl here. Alicia couldn't cope with Elon and Karina anyway, and then this bastard showed up. How is this possible? Karina feels so awkward sitting next to her ex and current boyfriend at the same time, and he doesn't even remember her name. Alicia didn't sleep all night. She suffered because of unrequited love, and now she also needs to decorate this trinity. The case is crap and definitely doomed to failure. He might just faint and that's it. Or you can simply kill the heir who has caused everyone trouble, thereby securing your future. Alicia's personal maid came up to the table. What is Lori saying? She was silent, so her mother was calling her. Well, what a pity. Lady Uther must go away again, but she wishes the 3 of them a wonderful time. After which the girl grabbed her maid by the hand and rushed to run away. The maid helped Alicia out a lot. She can be free. Lori is happy to help her mistress. If Miss Alicia needs anything again, just call Lori, shotgun, whatever. It's so hard to bear all this. Apparently it's because of the lack of sleep. The way to bed seems like an eternity. But it must be noted that today is a particularly difficult day. My heart still doesn't want to let go of Elon. And they don't stop being afraid of Xavier either. The matter is apparently not urgent at all, since the lady is walking so slowly. Alicia jumped up on the spot. What is His Highness doing here? The fact is that he was also called. Could Elon have guessed, since Alicia's performance was so relaxed and natural? So my lord is angry. Why is that? Well, Alicia lied to him, and doesn't my lady herself understand? No, really, the lady can see that Sir Claven is sulking at her, but at the same time he is still just as beautiful. Stop, Alicia. Where the stream of thoughts carried her again, the main character looked at his chosen one with a pout. So Elon is really angry. Well, she really was wrong, but she tried for his sake. The young people walked past the centuries-old trees. It was so peaceful and quiet here, truly paradise. Alicia wanted to say that Miss Harrington is a very beautiful and wise girl. When my lord spoke of his intentions to marry, she immediately thought that he was talking about Karina. So Alicia decided to give them some alone time to talk about it. They look great together. Lorena. What? Who is Lorena? She is Lorena. She is not Lorena. What a strange name in general. The name of the girl that my lord never stopped looking for was Lorena, and it was about her that they were talking then. And the main character really hopes that these words will be enough for Miss Uther to understand. And now it's time for Ilona to go. After the stunning confession, the handsome hero turned around and left, and Alicia felt as if she had been struck by lightning. She didn't just hear things, it wasn't her fantasy that replaced the new reality for her. That is, the main character of the novel really wants to propose to her. This couldn't be. She had dreamed about him for so long, so desperately wanted to just be near him. What was that? Elon wants to marry Alicia, and why is she acting like she was never Lorena? So who is Karina in this story? And where is her happy and great ending? What does it all mean? That is, Miss Uther is that very elusive Lorena? Karina jumped up, and this scoundrel has been standing here for a long time. And isn't the future emperor ashamed to spy in the bushes? How could Karina even fall in love with him? Enough of this unnecessary chatter. Let the girl answer who this Alicia really is. She doesn't even know herself. However, Miss Uther is certainly much more popular with gentlemen than Karina. Where is Karina going? The fact that Xavier left her doesn't mean that she can go to Elon. If this silly girl wanted to attract the Crown Prince's attention, she half succeeded. Let Karina not stick her neck out anymore and wait in her estate. Any day now, Xavier will invite her to the palace. So that's how it was. The plot became more and more confusing, but it was even more interesting. It's time for them to head to the Imperial Palace, but the guards will need to prepare some things. Let his lordship command, everything will be done. A large and strong cage is needed for a dangerous animal. Although no, the cage will be used often in the room, so let it be small. So His Majesty wants to get a pet. Not at all. The cage is needed for hunting. There's a man out there who's reaching for Xavier's loot, and we need to take good care of him. The next morning, a deafening female scream was heard in the Uther estate. This is impossible. Duke Uther hugged his wife and calmed her down, but what was going on? The day had only just begun. The Crown Prince invited Miss Alicia to the palace. The Duchess saw this and began to cry, as if she saw something else in it. Oh no. If the girl agrees to go to the palace to meet Xavier, the plot will return to the original. And then Laura will become the poor and unhappy priestess Alicia, who will be killed very soon. And what will she do? However, why is Morelia so upset? The invitation is definitely not a reason. It's as if she knows much more than she's saying. It's as if this woman understands perfectly well where all this is going and hides her knowledge. Very interesting. The beautiful protagonist sat in front of the girl again. What happened to Lady Uther? She has no face today. What's going on? It would be better for Ilona to return home. She's completely confused and has no idea what to do. And anyway, why come to the duchy's estate every day? My lady knows perfectly well the reason for his visit. And his lordship believes in the predetermination of fate. This is a test the young man needs to answer correctly. Not at all. Alicia is just curious. She believes in fate and it cannot be changed. Everything will happen as it was planned. And no one and nothing can influence this. Elon also believes in fate, and not only words strengthen his confidence. The main character is sure that fate itself told him to meet Milady. She is his destiny. What is she saying? It can't be. The handsome young man probably says that to all the girls. Why would he do that? Sir Claven says such things only to those who are truly dear to him, which means he is dear. But what about the main character then? The young man sighed heavily, and his interlocutor's face again reflected strong concern. They say that after her debut ball, Alicia did not receive a single proposal of marriage. How does Elon know this? It's easy for Ilona to say because there is no one more beautiful than him. What, no matter. My lord can bring an invitation tomorrow. Alicia will wait, but that doesn't mean they have to get married the very next day. Of course, but before bringing the proposal to her parents, Elon would like to voice his condition. The main character asks the girl to treat him sincerely, just as Elon treats her. Alicia must understand that my lord does not expect from her the same amount of love that he feels. Let Duke Claven's chosen one just be sincere, and Elon doesn't ask for more than she hears now. The girl was even afraid to dream about such words, about Elon's reciprocity, about his disposition. And then the man of her dreams, for whom she is ready to forget about her native world, tells her about love, like this. The main character began to slowly and politely approach the girl. What he wants to do, she has goosebumps. This is all just some kind of madness Alicia is like in her best dream right now. Elon gently kissed her forehead. A warm wave of feelings spread through the girl's body. This is the happiest moment in her life. This is not a dream. Ruby eyes looked at Alicia with special tenderness and warmth. What is he like? He is worth any conditions and decisions. The main character also wants Miss Alicia to give him her first kiss of her own free will. Duke Claven very much hopes that Miss Uther now finally understands the purpose of his daily visits. The girl's cheeks immediately flushed red. The main character knows for sure that Alicia is his Lorena. Of course, the thought of this warms Alicia and brings comfort, but she is still destined to die, and he has another girl. It was deep night, crazy. Elon kissed her on the forehead and said things she never dared to dream about. But is it possible to be so happy about one kiss? Why does Elon have such an effect on her? Alicia can't help herself. And why is this silly girl even happy? It doesn't matter what he or she feels, the ending is still determined. And in general, the girl wanted to return to her world so as not to experience this pain anymore, but she already has doubts. What should she do with all this? Alicia doesn't understand anything at all, and she has nowhere to turn for help. Then there was a knock on the girl's door. Alicia jumped up in fright. It was only her mother. What did Duchess Uther want? Well, Duke Claven came to their estate today, didn't he? So what? Morelia would like her daughter to tell her what my lord told her today. The girl's cheeks immediately began to burn. Well, Sir Claven proposed to her today. And Mrs. Audrey said that in the Empire you won't find a better groom than Duke Elon, and Alicia has him. Stop. Morelia jumped up to her daughter and grabbed her sharply. Elon is categorically not suitable for her. This will not happen. The Duchess shook Alicia nervously by the shoulders. She would not allow this under any circumstances. She clearly needed to explain herself. The girl's eyes narrowed suspiciously. Morelia was so categorical because Elon Claven was the main character, right? The mother's face immediately distorted in amazement. What she had just said meant that Alicia remembered everything. So they have a lot to discuss. Duchess Morelia is not a character in the novel either. She was reborn in this world. She is not from this world of the blind beast flower. She is just in someone else's body. Alicia is right. Morelia's hands began to shake with fear. What did her girl mean? What did she mean also from another world? She didn't hear wrong. Her daughter was also reborn. Morelia is against Elon for a reason. She can't hide it. Her real name is Laura. She came here not so long ago. What happened to the real Alicia? She doesn't know. It's impossible. Tears ran down Morelia's cheeks. This can't be. Her daughter is Laura from another world. This is all just madness. Laura is not going to live the fate of Alicia and die meekly, as in the original story of the novel. As the Duchess already understands, Laura is not really her daughter. Her Alicia is no longer here. Something broke in the Duchess's eyes. She did not want to and could not believe what she had just heard. Laura did not intend to marry the main character right away and considered it necessary to inform the Duchess of this. But the original story cannot be changed, at least in this novel, and if suddenly Laura decides to change the fate of her character and the plot, the black flame can engulf her. There is some invincible and dark force in this world that does not allow the course of the original story to change. And her decision can awaken this power. It will not affect the main characters, but the secondary characters are another matter. Laura must believe this. Morelia will never let her daughter die, she hears. The woman herself was reborn into this world long ago. Even before Alicia was born, she knows what she is talking about. She thought she just had to wait for the ending, began to live Morella's fate, met Jillian, and Alicia was born. She was originally named Jella, so that her baby girl's name would not carry such a horrific fate. However, the prophecy said that the daughter born into the Uther family should be named Alicia. That's when the woman realized that the same Alicia from the original plot was her daughter. They resisted to the last, but soon an imperial decree was issued, and Jella finally became Alicia. She tried to protect her daughter at all costs and sent her to a religious refuge where Alicia was safer. To save her girl from that damn Xavier, but things take a different turn and he's bound to hurt her. Alicia began to shake. Did this mean that no matter what she did, she was still destined to die here? Morelia squeezed her daughter's cold hands tightly. She would never allow this. Alicia could hear her. The Duchess promises her baby that she will not die. She has been here for a long time and she has some kind of plan. Bernard found out everything that His Highness ordered, and no strange expenses of Her Highness were discovered. Over the past few years, the imperial funds and accounts have not been touched at all, which is strange. She is not one of the frugal ones. And she did not respond to a letter from the emperor's family asking her to return. It was said that she had become infected with a local disease. But if her condition worsened, Elon would find out. It is not clear where she is now. Ilona's mother has always been on her own, but things are moving towards a wedding, so she needs to be found. It will be done. The manager bowed respectfully to his master. Here Bernard noticed a blue velvet box on the main character's desk. And what did the gentleman have there? The manager can't help but notice that it looks very much like a wedding ring, that's it. Bernard's mouth opened in amazement. He hadn't misheard. Duke Claven was going to propose tomorrow. That's why I bought a wedding ring. What? The young gentleman can't be left alone at all. And when was Elon going to tell Bernard about this? He is free and can go. What an injustice. The manager must know all the details, what her name is, what her horoscope is. Elon slammed the door. Bernard's questions will take forever. Finally, the long-awaited peace and quiet. The main character went to his desk and opened the treasured box. This would be the beginning of their new story. The young man had dreamed of seeing her with his own eyes for so long, dreamed of becoming her support and refuge. Elon spent a long time choosing a ring for Alicia very carefully, and he really hopes that she will like it. The next day arrived, which was supposed to be so happy and important for the main character. The handsome young man was already waiting for that very girl in the summer garden of the Uther's estate, looking at the box with the ring. Behind the young man, he heard the leisurely steps of his chosen one. Finally, Alicia had arrived. What's the matter? She has no face. She's terribly pale. Her eyes are swollen from crying. She doesn't even look him in the eye. Elon came here today to give back what they talked about yesterday. He is proposing marriage. Alicia deserves all the treasures in the world, but Duke Claven chose this ring for her. Miss Uther would accept his proposal, and as soon as the young man looked into her doomed eyes, he immediately understood what answer awaited him. Alicia immediately lowered her head and replied that she could not accept Elon's proposal. Her heart was breaking into pieces at that moment. The marriage proposal does not obligate Alicia to anything. A simple consent will be enough. For what reason does she tell him no? Something is wrong here. They can't be together. Why was Alicia crying? She didn't cry. They weren't meant to be together. Elon shouldn't come here anymore. The girl turned pale and with difficulty found the strength to rise from her seat. What was happening? The main character couldn't let go of Alicia and stopped her by the hand. What is she doing? What happened tonight? My lord must let her go. Once and for all, he is not meant for her. Elon knows that Lorena is in front of him. The young man hates it when people try to lie to him. She cried her eyes out and continues to lie about it. The main character doesn't care at all what happens to her. Whether she is Lorena or Alicia, she has nothing to worry about. Elon only needs her. No matter what name she calls herself, the whole world inside Alicia collapsed. The beautiful young man will understand if Alicia does not love him, but let her tell the truth about what is bothering her. He will help her. But how? How can she dump on Elon what is really happening to her? This is her curse. And if she wants to survive and not die at the hands of the novel's villain, she must break her own heart. It hurts her so much to say these words. They can never be together. Now even death doesn't seem so scary to her. The protagonist's voice trembled. Lorena had given him her word. She had promised that she would never run away from him. If only the young man knew that this is what she wants more than anything in the world. She is so sorry. She is so guilty before him. Let Alicia not apologize and stop acting like they will never see each other again. After that terrible day, the protagonist no longer appeared in the estate of the Duchy of Uther. Alicia did the right thing. She must remember that all this pain is only for her own good. The girl reluctantly picked at her dinner with a fork. It was hard to believe, but she had no other choice. More than anything in the world, she didn't want to hurt Elon, not him, even if he left peacefully. Alicia was well aware that his newfound world had been destroyed, leaving only lifeless ruins in its place. Detachment from the outside world, a doomed and empty look, all this reminded her of the day they met. She doesn't feel any better. Is there any point in such a life? But Morelia is trying so hard to save her. Even though she knows that Laura is not her biological daughter, they do everything for the sake of survival. No one wants to die. If Alicia got close to Elon now and something irreparable happened to her, it would kill him. Perhaps Duchess Uther was indeed right, and what else could she do? So the ship sails from the capital in exactly 3 days, and Alicia remembers their conversation. Of course, it still terrifies her, that damn original novella plot. This is the only chance to change the course of events. In the book, there is a gap in time between the meeting of the daughter and Xavier, and while the original plot has not yet come into effect, as a sentence for Alicia, she needs to run away from here. They will go to a country that is not mentioned in the book. She will hide the color of her eyes. The artifact will help her. It will change the color of her iris and is easy to use. On the day of departure, the father will give the artifact to Alicia. Duke Uther will take care of Alicia's new identity. Until that moment, events must not deviate from the order. As soon as everything is ready here, the parents will join their daughter. She has nothing to worry about. Apparently, it's normal for her character to constantly run away from her painful fate. A carefree and happy life was replaced by fear, pretense, running away, and endless pain. Poor Alicia. The girl clutched the hem of her dress. She would give anything to spend her whole life with him. Sleep has finally left the girl. She doesn't understand at all whether she is doing the right thing or not. What kind of life awaits her in constant fear and restrictions? Is this really the only solution? She needs to leave, but she hasn't heard any news about Elon for several days, whether he is okay. Whether she will even be able to deceive the ruthless plot and simply escape is eating her up inside. Lori began hysterically knocking on the door of her mistress's bedroom. Something bad had happened, and the maid should come in quickly. What's the matter? It's all about Duke Ilona Clavana. The maid was making inquiries about him at the request of Milady. Everything inside the girl broke down. She will never forgive herself if something happens to him. Lori's voice trembled. There was despair and fear in her eyes. The fact was that Sir Elon had gone blind again. This can't be. How could this happen? Is it really her fault? Lori's friend worked at the estate of the Duchy of Clavan, and recently they started firing all the servants from there. They say that his lordship has gone blind again, so everything has returned to its roots. He has become a blind beast again. No, but how it happened at all? The maid does not know, but she had to tell her mistress. What did Alicia do wrong? Is it all because she broke Elon's heart? She doomed him. After all, just a couple of days ago, everything was fine with the main character. Yes, he didn't come, but she asked him to. This was not the case in the original story. After Elon's epiphany, his fate became happy on its own. Why then did the main character go blind again? Did Alicia just make a mistake with the herbs? The lady is fine. She must be very hurt for my lord. Alicia has a request for the maid, whatever she wants. This is very important. Only Lori is able to help the girl now. She will carry out any of her orders. Even if the maid secretly lends Alicia's clothes, she is obliged to go to Elon herself. Meanwhile, in the imperial palace, the head of state prayed on his knees to the 5 gods of the odor. The emperor asks the great heavenly rulers to lead their country to the glory of Odor, who sits on the throne. May the gods cleanse their souls from all sorrow and vice, and may the soul of the emperor be with him on the day of his death. Heavy steps were heard behind the son of the empire. What a touching sight, well, I must say. His Highness continued to pray earnestly for the indulgence and blessing of his people. This means that the divine messenger did come, and as the ruler understands, the messenger came with a certain prophecy. And this can only mean one thing for the head of the empire. The envoy came here to give him an order. The head of state is obliged to declare the heir of the Uthers as a candidate for the bride of the crown prince. But if Lady Alicia gets her memories back, wouldn't that create more trouble in Hadouche? That girl will never, ever return to the temple again. Everything will go as it should. The ruler leaned obediently. He understood everything and would carry out the order of the messenger of the gods. The mysterious and faceless silhouette instantly disappeared, leaving the emperor alone. Once again, this man disappeared without a trace. Each of his new prophecies seems incomprehensible. Why is it that the messenger, as just a candidate and not a bride, demands unquestioning faith from the ruler? However, the emperor cannot understand the intentions of the gods, what all this is for, what plans there are for them all in heaven. The emperor has no other choice anyway, and who is he anyway to evaluate the will of the gods? His Highness entered a small room, hidden from prying eyes. Finally, he could rest. The emperor sighed heavily and removed the ancient artifact that concealed the wearer's true appearance. After the effect of the magic item wore off, the emperor's ruby eyes changed color to blue. His Majesty wears the magical artifact so often that he himself forgets what it really looks like. Under cover of night, Alicia had already fled to the protagonist's estate in secret from everyone. She must see Elon with her own eyes. Her soul was torn to pieces. She did everything wrong all the time, and it was probably her fault. The last thing the young man said to her was that she was talking as if they would never see each other again. The main character begged the girl not to do this to him, but she did it anyway. It was necessary to at least explain something to him. Elon deserves all the best and brightest. Here, the sudden appearance of the girl was noticed by an old acquaintance. What is Lorena doing here? And here is Bernard. Where has she been? She at least understands how the manager was worried about her, and now she suddenly appears in the middle of the night. There were reasons for that. She came back because she found out that Elon had gone blind again. How did it happen? They themselves don't know the reasons for what happened, but in fact, Bernard wanted to find out something. What medicine did she give to the gentleman last time? Nothing helps him. Lorena can see him first. The girl carefully stepped into the painfully familiar room. Who came there? Elon did not call anyone. Why are the main character's eyes covered? Did Elon really do this to himself? Her heart simply won't be able to handle it. Alicia came closer. It was all her fault. If it weren't for her, Elon would be healthy and happy now. The main character immediately recognized the most desired voice in the world. It was in such a pitiful form in front of her. Why did Alicia come here if she was going to leave the boy alone anyway? The girl felt as if she had been hit in the face. The Duke didn't want her to see him like this anymore. Let him go. Now Elon understands her. It is difficult to accept an offer from a man that can become a burden at any moment. What is he saying? How can he? Alicia just wanted a happy ending for everyone. But all her hasty and ill-considered decisions only made things worse for everyone. The main character sat on the bed. There was so much pain in his voice, he asks her to leave and never come back again. The veins on the strong and most precious hands in the world bulged, and the young man began to shake. As soon as she saw the main character again, it became immediately clear that she would never be able to leave him. Whatever threatens her, whatever terrible fate awaits her character, hurting him is much worse. Alicia took Elon's hand. She would not leave him, even if he called the servants and pushed her away by force. She placed Elon's palms on her face. Her place was next to him, and it had always been that way. She couldn't live any other way. Her heart will remain here forever, and without a heart people cannot live. Lorena will again be his eyes and hands. It would be better if the villain of the novel killed her soon than if she rejected him again and caused him such pain. The main character's cheeks flushed. If the girl promises again and then leaves him, Elon will not survive it. The girl threw herself on his neck and began to hug him. She would never leave him again. She couldn't. How could she think that she had the right to control other people's lives for the sake of a happy ending? Now the black flame of the novel will kill her, but that's nothing compared to leaving Elon. The girl was shaking with tears and choking with pain, anything, just so she would never leave him again. If only she could no longer exist without him, now her heart was in the right place, and that was how it should be. The main character took a breath and hugged the girl tightly. He again believed her and her words. Under the bandage, sighted ruby eyes flashed. Lorena simply left him no choice. He knew that something was wrong. That she just doesn't want to tell him, even though he would do everything to help her and save her. She needed a reason. Of course, Elon didn't want to resort to such methods, but he couldn't lose her. He couldn't leave her alone with the trouble. At first, Lorena tried to set the young man up with another woman, assuming that Elon was in love with her. Then he became furious. It was as if lightning had struck him. How painful it was. All the young man wanted was to be only with her, but Lorena kept pushing him away and hurting him. The main character was honestly patient and tried to understand Lorena, but she was the first to give in and decided to leave him, instead of going through all the hardships together, and now the young man will never let her go. The next morning came, and the girl, like in the good old days, entered Ilona's bedroom with breakfast. "Good morning. It's time for breakfast. The gentleman needs to gain strength to overcome his illness." The main character immediately stood up. Elon looks better today, as if he had gained strength. This cannot but please the girl. And why did my lord freeze in place? Tomorrow he will completely cool down. Let Lorena help the boy sit up. That's what Elon is waiting for. He's acting like a child again. Okay. The girl approached the main character and carefully helped him up. Today my lord has a salad with cheese and ham. There is also a fresh baguette and baked chicken. Well, let the handsome young man open his mouth. The dragon flies into the castle and flies right under the bridge. It was cute. The young man began to chew his breakfast contentedly. The girl has one request for him. And what are we talking about? Let my lord address her as Lorena for a while? She ran away from home secretly. Her parents are probably looking for her, and she has a talent for running away from her loved ones without even telling them anything. This is not good. The manager and servants at Ilona's estate also don't know who she is. If the truth comes out, she won't be able to stay. Oh well. And what will the main character get in return? That is, in order for the young man to keep her secret, Lorena must do something for him in return. The girl now understood everything correctly, exactly like this. If Elon should keep her secret, then she owes him something. So today she is again an ordinary servant without a penny in her pocket. What can she offer in return? Maybe a kiss, and Lorena has a good sense of humor. Actually, it wasn't a joke, Elon agrees. In the Imperial Palace, the sounds of breaking glass could be heard again in the Crown Prince's wing. What the hell? Why can't these idiots fulfill their obligations properly? Let him repeat it. Not only did Alicia Uther not respond to the Crown Prince's offer, but she also disappeared from the radar again. The lady escaped last night, so the Duchy Mansion is in turmoil right now. Everyone is looking for her. So let the Crown Prince's guards be the first to find her. She's just a girl. Alicia couldn't have run far in that amount of time. Let them find her at any cost and kidnap her. But if Duke Uther finds out about this, the guard dares to contradict the Crown Prince, and he too will be buried with his family. Let the servant not anger Xavier and immediately go look for Alicia. It will be done. The villain of the novel grabbed a bottle of wine and began to drown his rage in it. There were only idiots around. Alicia Uther belongs only to him. She cannot escape him again. She is his prey. Not only did she reject him and stab him with a dagger, but after that she also dated Elon. And now this impudent scum has disappeared completely. How dare she? The heir to the throne collapsed onto the bed and fell asleep. The Crown Prince's body was surrounded by a dark aura, carrying a threat. The fate and punishment for Morelia's sins must come to pass. Nothing should change this. A frightening figure in a robe stood next to the Crown Prince's bed. A shadow in the form of a black raven flew out of the hand. Xavier's time has come. So be it. The blackbird rushed at the future ruler at the behest of its master. The villain must fulfill his assigned role in the plot. The time has come. Xavier wants Alicia Uther to belong only to him. The Crown Prince opened his eyes, and obsession ignited in the blue ice flows. Alicia, Alicia, Alicia. His whole being now longed to get her. This way it was better. Nothing should ruin the plans of fate. Something is wrong with the main character, because before Elon stubbornly tried to do everything on his own. The handsome young man has an unbreakable will. He even learned to determine the road by the tiles. And even when he failed, he tried again and again until the young man succeeded. And how did the main character come to this? Let Lorena wash the Duke's head? Yeah, what a twist. Elon is serious now. He is half naked, and he used to handle it perfectly well himself. But then the young man did it poorly. There wasn't enough soap, but he didn't wash it off completely. My lord always checked his hair with his hand to make sure there was no soap left on it. Nothing of the sort. There was always soap left on the towel. Elon was like a capricious child. Okay, so be it. Lorena will help little Elon. The main character settled comfortably in the bathroom. Lorena began to rub the soap. That's how it is. Nothing gets into your eyes. The water is not hot. Everything is good. Ilona loves it so much that Lorena is here. She has become herself again. I wish it could always be like this. The girl wants this more than anything in the world, but how to pull this off in a novel? And how to find a way to heal the young man of her heart again? The right flower appears only once every 10 years. Suddenly it no longer blooms. If she could read the novel properly, she would be able to find the flower. The young man's request was too impudent, my lord finally noticed. But she sighed not because of this. It was stuffy here, and Lorena had not been outside for a long time. Then they can go for a walk at night. The girl would be very happy. Meanwhile, Duke Uther's mansion, Alicia will return to them. Where could she even go? Her memories were not fully restored. Morelia searched for her daughter for several days and did not sleep. She needed to rest. Duke Uther should continue his search and let his wife try to sleep. The Duchess covered her face with her hands, her cheeks stinging with salty tears. Maybe it was worth telling Alicia everything directly instead of speaking in riddles. But then the woman was sure that her daughter would obediently follow her. But it's too early for a story. The longer she's gone, the more obsessed Xavier becomes. The Duchess felt a threat behind her back. How was Morelia doing? They hadn't seen Duchess Uther for so long, and she was still trying so hard. Damn bastard. Sonatek at least understands where he came and what he got into. Is there a place in this world where he couldn't get to? And how does she feel about this? How does Morelia feel when time is about to run out and she can't do anything? The Duchess began to shake terribly. Morelia had been waiting for this for so long. The woman fought so hard to protect her beloved and only daughter. Isn't that right? What's wrong with this psychopath? Why is he doing this? He's just a sick madman. Doesn't the woman understand this herself? The reason is so obvious. Sonatek wants Morelia to suffer terribly. Why all this feigned innocence? The woman knows better than anyone here what she has done. She couldn't hide from what she had done. She couldn't forget it, and she couldn't fix it. Her sins are a part of her soul. It cannot be simply torn out or rewritten. She understands this. The threatening figure came close to the Duchess because Morelia wants to save her daughter. Duke Uther swung his sword and dispelled the darkness around his wife. How is Morelia feeling? She is fine. He didn't hurt her anywhere. She is fine. The darkness has receded. The Duchess is safe again. Her husband is near. Duke Uther kissed Morelia. He protected her from everything. Next to him, she had nothing to fear. However, in the woman's eyes, there was doom and uncontrollable fear. A woman can never escape her sins anywhere. Retribution will await her everywhere. Her poor girl. Alicia hasn't been out for a walk for so long. The moon is so bright today, and my lord hasn't been out in the fresh air either, apparently. Elon wandered around the Uther's garden every day, and that was enough for him. Well, for sure, because his parents' garden was so huge. Because of the damn bandage, the young man can't see Lorena well. What she's doing, why she's shaking her head, she's looking for something. Where is the girl? The Duke is worried that he does not feel her presence next to him. She is nearby. Lorena asks for forgiveness. She had discarded something earlier, so she started looking for what it was all about. It was her lucky coin for good luck. When the sun rose over the hormone, Elon would ask the guards to look for it. There is no point in wasting the resources of the Duchy of Klaven on such nonsense. This coin is not that important to her. Well, it's clear. And again, the girl is trying hard to hide something from Elon. He feels it. Did such an affair really happen before? What else did Lorena lie about, and for what reason? He enjoys looking at the sincere expression on a girl's face, but not so much when her words and actions differ. If she's looking for this thing so hard, it means it's important, and Elon is worried. Let her tell him what the coin looks like. Then the milord will ask the manager to look for her. No need. The girl can handle it herself. Besides, it will soon be dawn. Lorena remembers her words. She promised to be there for Elon and never leave him again. The girl opened her eyes. Why did these words sound? Why is the main character so worried? She is here. The maid bowed obediently. She had no intention of leaving or disappearing anywhere. She was here. Apparently, because of his fears, Elon began to limit Lorena. She is uncomfortable. This should not be. Only now did the young man notice that since her return, Lorena had not smiled sincerely even once. It had become much colder. They should return to the estate. Why did my lord suddenly stop? Tomorrow, he and the girl will need to go somewhere. How interesting. And what place are we talking about? The girl will see everything herself. Well, and my lord is sure that he can go out. She shouldn't worry about anything. How much she missed him, even if he was capricious. His appropriation, his smell and voice. Everything here is so familiar and warm. These simple pajamas, the soft bed, the people who are already close. The estate of the Duchy of Uther was too luxurious for her. She felt uncomfortable in it, but what to do with Elon? There is nothing left in the place of his flower, and the plant does not bloom again, only because of the fact that the protagonist is blind. Then the plot will never return to the original version. Although everything has long since gone wrong, this world has changed. According to Morelia, she should have already burned to the ground, but there is still no black flame, and she is alive. What if that lady didn't tell her the whole truth? But then why would she need it? What could she be hiding from her daughter? Morelia also knows the original story of the novella. She was also reborn in the novel, just like Lura herself. She read the novel carefully and can suggest a solution. Maybe Elon went blind for the second time in the plot. Well, okay, the main thing is to save the main character again at any cost. She will deal with the rest gradually. The darkness passed quickly and unnoticed, and the morning rays of the sun began to break through the night clouds. The main character and Lorena went for a walk in the park. What wonderful weather today. It means she likes their walk. It's very beautiful here. How could Lorena not like it? Finally, a real smile shone on the girl's face. It is so sunny. The sky is so blue. Its color is reflected in the crystal waters of the river, and centuries-old trees stretch along the bank. To be honest, the girl didn't even know that there was such a place in the capital. She should have brought Lorena here earlier. How lovely! What's going on? There are young people riding a boat down there under the bridge. They can ride too if she wants. Is it true that today is the day she is about to burst with delight? Of course, Lorena wants to go for a ride with Elon. And now the two heroes were already sailing on the blue waves from the shore. These boats seemed much larger, which meant Lorena was uncomfortable. Not at all, on the contrary. This boat is small and cozy. It is very pleasant to be in it. To be honest, until yesterday the girl was depressed by her experiences, but the walk cheered her up. The protagonist is very glad that he managed to distract Lorena from her oppressive thoughts. He just wanted to do it here. What are we talking about? Just let the young man not say that he wants to learn to dive like a fish. Elon is talking about a proposal. How about a proposal? But the time has not come yet, so the young man simply confesses everything to her right here. In fact, the main character did not lose his sight a second time. His eyes still see everything thanks to Lorena. The ruby eyes of the descendant of Odor shone as before. The girl was torn by mixed feelings from what she saw. On the one hand, it's an undeniable joy to see Elon healthy, but on the other hand, what the hell is he doing? The main character lied to her about his health. Lorena can't even find the words now. This means that all this time the milord was absolutely healthy, but he covered his eyes with a bandage so that she would not notice it. The young man asks for forgiveness for having to lie to Lorena. She, of course, lied too, but this is too much. Elon at least understands how much she was worried about him. Her soul was torn to shreds, but how could he? The girl got so angry that she completely forgot where they were and rocked the boat, and they both ended up underwater. It was already sunset outside, but a late visit from His Majesty was planned at the Imperial Palace. What brought the son of the Empire to the Empress at such a late hour? The ruler is not here of his own free will. It's been a while since the gods sent their will to their faithful people, isn't it? They need to discuss Xavier's marriage. This was the last thing they needed now, which meant that the gods of Odor had turned their attention to Xavier. Could it be that the heavenly beings have once again ordered something strange? Yes, that they should marry their son to Alicia Uther. The Empress can't believe it. It's just the perfect solution. How can she thank them? Apparently, the Empress is satisfied with such a daughter-in-law when to organize their wedding. His Majesty is going to discuss this matter with the Uther family, and it is time to return Princess Leo. What His Majesty just said made the Empress darker than a cloud. Why did he need Princess Leo? The wedding is coming soon, and only the princess is the eldest member of the imperial family. There is no news about her in Tropalgar. There is no news at all. The princess has disappeared. No one can find her. It's as if she has evaporated. In that case, it is necessary to urgently send people to search for the princess and return her to the capital. It will be done. It's not so easy to see the face of your own sister. Leo always lived up to her name. Where is she? Night had fallen over the empire. The wind was cool and gusty, and the fireplace crackled comfortably in the living room. Lorena tossed and turned on the soft bed. She was about to choke. Would she really repeat Alicia's fate? Here the girl finally came to her senses and opened her frightened eyes. She was alive. She was safe and could breathe. Wait a minute, where is Lorena? She knows every corner of this room well. This is Ilona's bedroom. But how did Lorena end up here? She remembers exactly how they both walked along the bank of that river. So the last words of the main character were that he lied to her, that his eyes had actually been sighted all this time. Then the girl became furious because her heart was breaking every day from pain for him. She angrily jumped up right in the boat. And they both ended up under the waters of the river because of her, which means the handsome young man saved her from death. But why did he lie to her? When she was reborn, she thought she knew the story, knew the main character, but everything turned upside down. How did everything turn out this way, and what will happen next? The worried protagonist entered the bedroom door. Finally, Lorena woke up. How was she feeling? She really scared everyone, and especially Elon himself. The girl is completely fine. She was not hurt thanks to the main character. He pulled her out of the water in time. However, she is tormented by heavy thoughts, and therefore Lorena would like to get an answer as to why the young man lied to her. Although the main character was prepared for this question, every word was especially painful for him. There was so much sensuality in the violet eyes. Everything was mixed up. It was difficult to single out even one emotion. Ruby eyes met her demanding gaze. They had to talk now. The main character slowly walked up to his bed and carefully sat down next to Lorena on the edge. Then the young man looked guiltily at his Lorena. The fact is that she stays next to him only when he is weak. But that's not true at all. She's just not destined to be with him when he's him again. Alicia understands how much Elon wants to be with her. But apparently the main character himself has no idea that she wants the same thing no less than he does. The girl understands how much pain it was for him every time she pushed him away and drove him away from her. When Alicia re-entered Elon's estate, he realized that she wanted to be with him of her own free will. Alicia left everything and everyone for this, and the main character will understand if the girl is very disappointed in him. There is nothing he can do about this mistake. He is ready to pay for it, for the opportunity to be with her at least for a short time. The main character began to tenderly kiss Lorena's hand. He had been waiting for this moment for so long and painfully. He needed to stop him immediately. Although Lorena doesn't want to do this at all, there is no other way to stop her, and she doesn't yet know what this threatens them with. She can't believe her eyes. The one she was afraid to even dream about is sitting in front of her and saying that he feels the same way. The main character imagined every night that Lorena would never leave him, that she would always be there. And now, after what happened, he can only hope that Lorena doesn't hate him for lying. Well, what a silly boy he is. What? The girl grabbed the handsome hero's face. She was so happy. I mean happy? Maybe Lorena did hit her head when she fell into the water. We need to call a doctor. What a blessing that Elon wasn't actually blind. There was nothing more important than that. Everything else was unimportant. She blamed herself for everything. Lorena wants to protect and shelter this young man from all adversity and darkness. She wants most of all for him to be happy. This will be enough for her. Then the heroine herself will be happy, and she will protect his happiness. Who would have thought that the world of the novel would become the most precious and happy for the girl Laura? Tears began to flow down the girl's cheeks. She didn't want to embarrass the main character. She just wanted this more than anything in the world. And now the fates of all the characters in this novel will follow an unpredictable course. What will happen to them for this? Whatever fate has in store for them, Lorena will not allow Elon to suffer, to be in pain and alone. The main character clung to Lorena and began to carefully wipe away her tears. No need to cry, Shene. Shenna, where did the main character get such words from? She hadn't been here for less than a month. Lorena herself often repeated this word. Apparently this is a foreign word. It's from another world altogether, but Elon doesn't need to know that. So the girl really did return of her own free will, and is glad that finally this does not cause any doubts in the young man. And as the wonderful hero could already guess, Lorena no longer wants to leave him. She will not go away. And no marriage proposal, they were just getting to know each other and they still had so much to figure out. The girl will stay with the main character because he can't live without her, and not because she can't live without him, that's clear. The protagonist is grateful, Shenna, you don't need to call her that, whereas Ilona should address her. She already had at least 2 names, actually 3. At that moment, Laura felt that she was in her place. The unshakable and growing feeling inside her that she cannot let go of is love that overcomes everything. This is some kind of unbreakable connection that is bigger and stronger than anything, and for its sake, she is ready to take risks, she is sure of this.